Good morning, honorable members, and those under the sound of my voice. Today in our Moments of Impact devotional segment, I'll be sharing with you part 2 of our devotional entitled, Don't Bow. In Daniel chapter 3, the 3 Hebrew boys made a conscious decision to not bow to the golden image that the king had erected. They rose up in courage and told the king that they rather serve their God, and if he doesn't deliver, they still will not bow. The 3 Hebrew boys stood on their principles and values. Their allegiance was to the one and true God and him alone. They were prepared for whatever consequences they faced as a result of not bowing to the king's demands. Because of their decision not to bow, the king was furious. He commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times hotter. And then he commanded the most mighty men of his army to bind those boys together and throw them in the fiery furnace. Those men were thrown in the furnace with their coats and their hose and their hats and all of their garments. And because the king's commandment was so urgent and the furnace was exceeding hot, the flame of the fire slew those men that took Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men fell down bound in the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then the king was astonished and rose up and said to his counselors, "Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire?" They answered unto the king and said, "Yes. But lo," the king said, "I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt. And the form of the 4th is like the Son of God." Then the king came near to the furnace and spake to those 3 Hebrew boys and said, "Ye servants of the Most High God, come forth and come hither." Then Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego came forth out of the midst of the fire. And the princes and the governors and the captains and the king's counselors, being gathered together, saw these men, upon whose bodies the fire had no power, nor was a hair of their head singed, neither were their coats changed, nor the smell of fire had passed upon them. Then the king said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who has sent his angels to deliver those who trusted in him, and have changed the king's word, and healed their bodies, that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. Therefore I make a decree that every people, every nation, every language, which speak anything against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego shall be cut in pieces. Their houses shall be made a dunghill, because there is no God that can deliver after this sort." The king then promoted Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the province of Babylon. The moral of this story is when you take a stand for God and refuse to bow to anything or to anyone who seeks to compromise your spiritual principles and values, God will show himself strong on your behalf. We see in this story, the men who threw him in the fire were the ones who got destroyed. We see in this story, as they were thrown in the fire, nothing happened to them. The fire had no power over them. Not a hair on their head was singed. Neither did their coats change. Scripture further says, nor there was the smell of fire on them. We see in this story, in the fire, the 4th man showed up. We see in this story, the king made a decree that no one is to speak against the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The king promoted those 3 Hebrew boys in the province of Babylon. In conclusion, I want to reiterate what I previously said and leave you with this thought today. If you stand up for God, God will stand up for you. If we as a nation stand up for God, God will stand up for us. When we refuse to bow and stand for God, no weapon formed against us shall be able to prosper. Selah. Think and act on these things. Let us pray. Our gracious and eternal Father, we thank you for the gift of life. We thank you for your divine protection over our lives. We thank you for your daily mercies that you freely bestow upon us. Today, we ask you, Almighty God, to give us the resolve, the resilience, and the courage to not bow in the face of mounting pressure. Give us the fortitude as a nation and as a people to stand alone despite the discomfort. Help us, Almighty God, to maintain our godly heritage and foundation. Help us to always remember that righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Now, Father, today we pray as the people's business are discussed. We come to you asking, God, for your wisdom to rest upon each of these honorable members. We pray against the spirit of confusion and disturbance and anarchy. We pray that the deliberations in this house today will be done in decency and in order. And so we thank you, Lord, and we ask that your perfect will may be done in this house today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Amen. Let us pray the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
The chair recognizes the honourable member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
Madam Speaker, we wish to ask the House indulgence to allow the member for Pinewood to make an intervention at this time in reference to the flooding that occurred in one of our islands over the weekend. I've spoken with the Leader of the Opposition. I've obtained his concurrence. With the leave of the House, Madam Speaker, we so request.
Thank you, honourable member. Thank you, honourable member. The chair recognizes the honourable member for Pinewood.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise in total gratitude of those constituents of Pinewood whom I represent in this place. Madam Speaker, before I go into the communication, I'd just like to let the Bahamian public know that I would have spoken to the Prime Minister last night. He was scheduled to return to the country today, but he cut his trip short because of the flooding situation. And he will lead a delegation along with the Minister of Education into Exuma to assess the damages. And he says to let those residents know that he comes also with a pledge of the Bahamas government to assist in any and every way to normalizing their lives. Madam Speaker, I'd also like to make mention that this being hurricane season and the fact of climate change and these weather systems and the importance for us as a country to use our bullhorns wherever and whenever. So those who may be responsible much more for the effects of weather in our country and in our region, for them to understand what we small island developing states is going through. And part of the reason why the Prime Minister continued to bring the attention of climate change and the effects of global warming. It is in the, it's not even, we are in the second week of May, and already we are going through these, this phenomenon. In June. Madam Speaker, I take the opportunity to report to Parliament on the efforts to address the severe flooding that took place in parts of the Exuma mainland, more specifically such areas as Rollville, Farmers Hill, Forest, Baratari, East Exuma, Georgetown, and Rocus Point on Sunday, the 11th of June, 2023, as a result of the extreme rainfall that affected the Northwest and Central Bahamas. Madam Speaker, I would have been apprised from early yesterday morning the PS with responsibility for local government, Mr. Neil Campbell, and his team there, in particular, Kendall McPhee, the chief local councillor, and also Mr. Donald Rowell, the administrator. Even before my agencies contacted me, I was getting almost an hourly update on the situation there and the remedies. And I'd like to thank those gentlemen, and in particular also the leader of that crew, the MP for South and Central Eleuthera, and the minister with responsibility for local government. I think Exuma is that example of what could be done on the ground before national resources arrive. And those individuals in particular held the line and worked very hard in getting the local assistance going before I heard from the director of NEMA. And so I would just like to single out local government in particular, Campbell, Donald Rowell, and Kendall McPhee for a job well done in making me apprised almost on an hourly basis of what's going on the ground. Also, later on in the day, in the morning, I spoke with the director of NEMA, Captain Steve Russell, who also echoed to me what was going on the ground in Exuma, of those individuals and what was going on. And in this communication, Madam Speaker, I'll speak in more detail. Officials of the Bahamas Department of Meteorology reported that rainfall in amounts of 8.92 inches were recorded in Exuma on Wednesday, the 7th of June, with an additional 2.73 inches recorded on Thursday, June 8th. It is estimated that an additional 12 inches of rainfall occurred in Exuma over the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday period. Long Island recorded 1.10 inches of rainfall on Wednesday the 7th, 4.90 inches on Thursday, and an additional estimated 6 inches on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. These extreme rainfall amounts led to excessive flooding in Exuma and Long Island. There were also flooding in low-lying areas on other islands in the Northwest and Central Bahamas. A trough responsible for the heavy rainfall over the past 5 days is forecasted to continue to linger over the Bahamas until Tuesday, June 13th, when it will begin to dissipate and move away from the Bahamas by Wednesday, June 14th. As a result, showers and thunderstorms are forecasted to continue over the islands of the Northwest and Central Bahamas today and into tomorrow, Tuesday. It is further forecasted that these showers and thunderstorms will become severe at times. I take this opportunity to advise citizens, residents, and visitors in these areas to remain vigilant in light of this information and to follow all alerts issued by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology. I further caution all citizens, residents, and visitors in the affected areas to avoid driving or walking through floodwater and or standing water, as it can be dangerous and can contain many things that can be harmful to an individual's health, including contaminants that may lead to injury and illness. It is important to remember that the best way to protect yourself and your families from exposure to flood water or standing water is to stay out of it. If you have to enter flood water or standing water, please ensure that you wear rubber boots, rubber gloves, and goggles. I begin my report by thanking the Disaster Risk Management Agency and Emergency Response personnel who comprise Exuma's Disaster Risk Management Consultative Committee for the quick action they took in responding to the severe weather event, opening shelters, conducting initial damage assessment, and creating runoffs for standing floodwater in order to mitigate some in the short, medium, and/or long-term negative impacts flood can have on lives, properties, infrastructure, and businesses. The Disaster Risk Management Consultative Committee comprised local government officials, in addition to essential services personnel from various government ministries and corporations and on-island civic groupings. I further report that the damage assessment teams and emergency response personnel from New Providence, including personnel from the Ministry of Works, Water and Sewage, Social Services, and the Ministry of Health, will be dispatched to Exuma to assist with the local efforts. They have been tasked with conducting further assessments, providing the necessary aid, and initiating relief measures where necessary. Madam Speaker, one major aspect of the country's comprehensive disaster risk management strategy is to ensure that island communities across the Bahamas are able to mobilize and assist themselves in the event of a disaster or emergency until help from the outside can arrive. This is exactly what occurred in Exuma. I will report on the actions that took place in response to the flooding, beginning with the local response. 5 shelters were activated at 9 a.m. on Sunday. They are listed as follows: the Resource Center at Hoopers Bay, Rokers Point Primary School, St. Teresa's Catholic Church in Georgetown, Calvary Mission Baptist Church, Rollville, and St. Mary Magdalene Anglican Church, Williamstown. 11 persons in total were accommodated at the shelters. Meanwhile, personnel from the Ministry of Public Works, the Department of Local Government, and the Water and Sewage Corporation collaborated to determine the swiftest and safest ways to reduce water levels in order to avoid some of the potential hazards associated with floodwater, and that was a priority. Their actions including using heavy equipment to create drain-offs for the floodwater in the ocean. And again, Madam Speaker, the local government played a prominent role in that occurrence. We all would have seen the videos that went viral, but that is a perfect example of local government. Before the national response came, coming to the scene, assessing, and moving forward with bringing relief and mitigation. Exuma's swift water rescue team was placed on alert in the event they were needed to conduct water rescues. Additionally, the island's Emergency Operations Center, EOC, was activated to effectively manage the situation from ground level. Below are the findings of the initial damage assessment report. A more detailed assessment will be done once the teams from New Providence arrive in Exuma and conditions allow. In Georgetown, flooding in the area of AID, flooding at the airport roundabout and Airport Road near Burley's, and there were flooding near Regatta Park. In the forest, there were major flooding in 2 areas of the main road leading to this community that made it impassable. Farmers Hill, overflow from several connected ponds in the area as a result of heavy rainfall resulted in major flooding in this area. Emergency response personnel determined that the runoff from the pond to the sea was obstructed by excess sand at the Farmers Hill Beach. The obstruction was cleared, allowing the water from ponds to flow freely into the sea. At Roker's Point, a number of yards were flooded. Rollville, there were 2 locations that experienced major flooding in the settlement of Rollville. Initial reports indicate some road erosion as a result of this flooding. In Baratari, an assessment of the area will be conducted once some of the water subsides. In East Exuma, there was flooding at Hartwell, Forbes Hill, the entrance to February Point, and Bahamas Sound 2, Bahamas Sound 11. Efforts were underway to address the flooding in these areas. The airport building, the initial damage assessment indicates there was extensive damage to the roof of the extended portion of the airport building in Exuma. Further assessments will be undertaken. Madam Speaker, I will now outline the national response. The National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, after contacting officials from the Ministry of Works and Utilities, the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, and the Water and Sewage Corporation, were able to facilitate the delivery of the following: heavy-duty pumps, 300-foot hose for the pump, 2 heavy-duty pumps from Bahamas Striping. The following were made available from NEMA's Coral Harbor warehouse: 2 pallets of tarps for various sizes to assist where necessary, 4 dewatering pumps and hoses, 6 chemical backpacks for mosquito spraying, 2 10-kilowatt portable generators, and fuel containers. All items noted above were delivered to HMBS Lawrence Major for transport to Exuma. Madam Speaker, following consultation with Acting Director of Department of Meteorology, Mr. Jeffrey Simmons, the Administrator for Exuma and the Ragged Island District, Mr. Donald Roll, and Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education and Technical and Vocational Training, Ms. Lorraine Simonet, it was recommended that schools on the mainland be closed until floodwater recedes. Acting on this advice, the ministry issued a release Sunday stating that all schools on the Exuma mainland will be closed Monday, June 12th. The ministry remains in contact with NEMA and will provide updates as required. Madam Speaker, in closing, I take this opportunity to once again caution citizens and residents alike to take action today in order to be better prepared for all severe weather events if they haven't already done so. Disasters can occur at any time. Knowing your risks and vulnerabilities can help to save lives. Ensure that you understand how to interpret forecasts and alerts and know what to do during and after. Create emergency plans for your families. These plans should include evacuation plans, especially for persons residing in coastal, low-lying, and/or flood-prone areas. Know the location of shelters and the best, quickest, and safest routes to get to them. Replenish your stock of emergency supplies and take the necessary measures to protect property and possessions. Additionally, remain attentive to all advisories and warnings issued by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology. We need to make ourselves ready to the best of our individual and collective abilities. The impact of our collective preparation efforts increases our capacity to quickly recover in the aftermath of a severe weather event. And Madam Speaker, finally, before I take my seat, I'd just like to remedy this faux pas that I was in constant communication with the MP for the Exumas and Ragged Island, who was very, very concerned, and apart from having his information on the ground, was lobbying to see what else we could provide at the soonest opportunity to assist for those events that took place in Exuma. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable member. Honorable member, would you like to table that document? Order the document be brought up. Order the document lie on the table. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Central Grand Bahama.
Good morning, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much. To the member for Pinewood. Happy to hear that you and your team sprung into action immediately to remediate the issues that the residents of Exuma are experiencing. But just by way of information, I'm not sure if it was done, but when I sat in the chair in the politics, in charge of the ministry, in partnership with Northern Command, centered from the U.S., we were able to secure the generators that you mentioned. We were able to secure 4 portable hurricane shelters. There were some portable water tanks, Wallycraft boats, and as well as a portable kitchen, commercial kitchen, 2 commercial bathrooms, as well as commercial office space. So again, I'm not sure if they were on board the Lawrence Major, but one of the intentions was to ensure that we have these facilities in the central Bahamas, Exuma, Long Island, where we could station some of these portable supplies in the events that happen over the weekend happen. So I'm not sure if those supplies were also sent on Lawrence Major, but we did secure some $5.3 million worth of supplies to help in the event that we experience these type of disasters. So I just want to be further praised
To
of
the
that.
member for Central Grand Bahama, we got a further, this government got a further 28 generators from the same agency. To the member, through you, Madam Speaker, there's constant communication, and all of those items that were spoken by the member, if so needed in Grand Bahama, there will be a comprehensive list, and I could provide particular information and apprise this House with regards to what exactly was said, if so needed. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The chair recognizes the honorable member for West Grand Bahama.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, honorable members. Honorable members, at the break, at the suspension, last week we were debating a compendium of bills. I presume that we are now ready. The chair recognizes the honorable member for Central and South Eleuthera.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise today on behalf of the great people of Central and South Eleuthera who have put their trust in me to represent them and their interests in this honorable chamber. Today marks the second occasion that I have had the privilege to present a budget as a minister that we feel will bring significant improvements to the function of my ministry, to the robust development of the Family Islands, and to provide an abundance of opportunities for the Bahamian people. The government, in its 2 years in office, has made significant breakthroughs in how we handle our finances, and after 2 years of grit and determination, we are seeing a rebounding economy, progressive shifts in revitalizing our agricultural sector, and strengthening the economy of our Family Islands. This budget that I will present seeks to detail our pursuit of concrete, practical, and even ambitious aspirations to build and expand economic opportunities for Bahamians. Two of the most critical aspects of this budget, food security and family islands. Madam Speaker, we have achieved many milestones, but we're not done yet. Madam Speaker, I take this opportunity to thank the esteemed member who represents Cat Island, Rum Cay, and San Salvador for reposing his trust in me to lead this most important ministry and to bestow the task which will move us one step closer to achieving our economic goals and our commitment to the Bahamian people as we realize the goals and objectives set forth in our blueprint for change. Madam Speaker, I'd like to thank my colleagues and member for NABI, Leonardo Leyburn, the member for Southern Shores, the Major, who will speak on other matters in my ministry and on BIC respectively. In this place, who will be speaking after me to expand on a number of departments, accomplishments, and budget priorities as I cannot address all for the sake of time. Also, my colleagues and Upper House Senators Tyrell Young and Senator Dr. Recia Hepburn Forbes, who will both speak extensively on the work at BAMC. Madam Speaker, before I expound on the achievements of my ministry to date and provide our assessment of budgetary priorities for the ministry, I would like to speak about the advancements of Central and South Eleuthera, whose shoulders I stand on, whose future I continue to lobby for, and whose trust I am grateful for. I take this time to offer my condolences to the families that have lost so many loved ones. On behalf of my family, the constituents of Central and South Eleuthera, I wish to offer my condolences to the family of Sidney Bethel and Charlotte Comer, both of Hatchet Bay, the family of Mr. Clifford Sands of Palmetto Point on the passing of his sister, Patrice Knowles, the family of Clint Clark of Savannah Sound, Rosina Thompson of Deep Creek, and to the Carey family of Tarpon Bay on the passing of Rochelle, to Corporal Renato Brown and his family on the passing of his wife, Shonda Brown, to the Williams family of Benjamin Town on the loss of Ms. Irma Williams, stalwart counselor of the Progressive Liberal Party. And Madam Speaker, I send prayers to the Carey family in Tarpon Bay, and Ms. Romilda, and her sons on the passing of Mr. DeWitt Carey, a staple and iconic businessman who owned Tarpon Bay Shopping Center, who passed away at 90 years of age. I take this time to send condolences to the Williams family of Greencastle on the untimely passing of Timmy Lee Williams, a petty officer who was the first female to have passed away on the job. My prayers are extended to the entire body of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force, to the entire body of the Progressive Liberal Party, as Timmy's name is synonymous with loyalty and a fighter, to the entire community of Greencastle, Eleuthera, and South Eleuthera, who shared countless experiences with Timmy, and lastly to her children, sister, and entire family. Timmy will be missed for her frank, her honest opinion, and her fierce loyalty. May her soul and that of all the dearly departed rest in peace. Madam Speaker, Central and South Eleuthera has come a mighty long way. From years of successive promises and unrealized visions of previous administrations, a past prime minister speaking to a gathering declared that South Eleuthera had its time. From that administration to this, the people of Central and South Eleuthera have not seen much great progress. However, I take the time to declare, somebody told me you can't be a PLP without speaking from the Bible. Amen. So I take this time to declare that the Bible speaks that there is nothing before its time. Yeah. And that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the sun. You see, we were destined to accomplish these goals together. And I am forever grateful when I can see the positive impact of this administration on the lives of family islanders. Real, tangible accomplishments that will change the socio-economic trajectory of Eleuthera. Madam Speaker, I have been working alongside the Bahamas National Trust through BIAC and the Office of the Attorney General for just under 2 years to ensure that the vision for the development of a national seahorse park at Sweetings Pond is nearly completed. Help me out. Oh. Many do not know, but this site here is home to the most abundant species of seahorses and the most diverse species in the world. This site will serve as a major attraction for its natural biodiversity and will bring foreigners and residents together in a cultural atmosphere, highlighting a wide array of local-grown produce on the island of Eleuthera. The National Seahorse Park at Sweetings Pond will complement a long list of natural attractions on Eleuthera that adds to the uniqueness of the island, such as the Glass Window Bridge, the Queen's Bath, the Leon Levy Preserve, Ocean Hole, and many other natural attractions that offers travelers a unique experience on Eleuthera. This summer, I will be spending a considerable amount of time in Eleuthera, not breaking ground as been customary, but ribbon cutting, as we have worked tirelessly over the last 2 years to bring much-needed improvements and opportunities for entrepreneurs on the island of Eleuthera, and these initiatives will be launched and open for business. Eleuthera, the time has come to improve our way of life. As developments are choosing Eleuthera as its hub, there are so many facets of our community where we must have a divisive plan for improvements. Madam Speaker, Eleuthera has a bucket list of issues that need fixing. While there are things outstanding that I cannot bring relief to, I can correct some wrongs, and I've been working extremely hard to bring innovation and progress to Central and South Eleuthera. Madam Speaker, every year we talk about health care and the need to improve the facilities on Eleuthera. I'm happy to say that we are one step closer to realizing that this great initiative that has spanned administrations comes to fruition. We expect not to build one, but 2 fully functional, state-of-the-art medical centers in Palmetto Point and in Rock Sound. Both townships, local councils, have already reviewed, they've approved the plans, and they have sent them back to New Providence for completion. Madam Speaker, we are one step closer, and I'm certain that my colleague and the member for Tall Pines will expand on the strides made for the construction of medical facilities in Eleuthera. You see, Madam Speaker, this is just results. Madam Speaker, I take this time to elaborate on the progressive initiatives that have been made in Central and South Eleuthera. For a long time, our students have had to leave Eleuthera to have access to education after high school. Thanks to the pandemic, distance learning is commonplace, and many students and adult learners have access to education. Additionally, for a long time, Eleuthera has lacked an availability of men and women with basic skills that are needed on a daily basis. Trained electricians, plumbers, refrigeration technicians, the plain old handyman. We do have a lot of qualified individuals. However, there are too few of them, and their services are always in demand. So most homeowners have to wait days, sometimes weeks, to get on the calendar to have simple things fixed. Madam Speaker, I'm pleased to report that a facility to house the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute is almost 100% completed.
Yes.
The first in a family island. Ahead of the building completion, the first cohort of students in the electrical program is already in the classroom, taking advantage of this wonderful opportunity. I want to thank my colleague and member for Engliston, Honorable Glennis Hannah Martin, and the Minister of State for Education, Honorable Zane Lightburn, who's a former resident of Greencastle. I guess his family's still there. Yeah, well, he used to live in Greencastle. You don't know that? Resident, not wrestler. And their team and board of directors and management of BTVI and our corporate partners for their relentless efforts to expand these institutions to the Family Islands. Madam Speaker, this is the 4th year I have sponsored the starting line. This is an initiative that gives students and adult learners the opportunity to sign up for national exams and get focused tutoring for 4 months just prior to the sitting of these exams. Madam Speaker, a lot of our community members who are fully employed graduated pre-pandemic. The opportunity to enroll in distance learning was out of their reach because for some reason or the other, they didn't have requisite BJC or BGCSE. The starting line fills the gap, and we are happy to say that to date, 780 students in Central and South Eleuthera and across the Bahamas have enrolled and sat national exams more prepared than ever to achieve their goals. Just results, Madam Speaker.
Just results, that's all it is.
I have the distinct pleasure to announce that my colleague for Fort Charlotte, the Honorable Alfred Sears, has ensured that the roads in Eleuthera will be completed with asphalt, striped, and cat-eyed. Unlike previous administrations, the drive to accomplish goals and improve infrastructure often left out a few key people, the residents. We will ensure that this is a harmonious balance to ensure that the primary contractor in this venture will subcontract most of the prep work to local companies. These two companies have been in the road building business for many years and are native to Eleuthera, and they deserve the same opportunity as persons from New Providence. You see, Madam Speaker, this member is serious about making provisions for the constituents of Central and South Eleuthera. You will also see in the next 2 weeks a team that will start repairing all the potholes in Eleuthera ahead of this major construction. This partnership ensures that a good portion of economic activity stays on the ground, but most importantly, touches the lives of Eleutherans. We will not patch the road like a quilt, and we are not in the business of waiting until close to election to deliver on key promises. But we will ensure that the residents and the guests can drive on decent, solid, paved roads, similar to those constructed on Axuma to improve road safety for all users. This initiative will see the fruition of continuous roads from the north to the south and throughout several communities. Just results, Madam Speaker. Just results. Of late, Madam Speaker, you have heard the criticism of people highlighting the housing challenge on Eleuthera. I've seen a video by Peggy Candice where she pointed out the wrong words were used to describe the housing situation in Eleuthera. Madam Speaker, Eleuthera abounds with opportunity for those prepared to meet the demand to provide housing. Just the other day, I ran into an Eleuthera native who returned home and is constructing an 18-plex in response to the housing demand. Madam Speaker, Eleuthera is recovering ahead of schedule, and the residents are the direct beneficiaries. Madam Speaker, throughout his submission to the Honorable House, you had heard the member of Cat Island, Rumpke, and San Salvador highlight affordable housing in his speech. As a priority of this Davis-led administration, not only is the Affordable Home Program implemented in New Providence, but I want the people of Central and South Eleuthera to know that as a member of this team, I advocated strongly to ensure that Eleuthera was prioritized in this program.
Yes, sir. Yes, you did.
I worked hard along with my colleague, the member for Lizzie, or Elizabeth, and the Minister for Housing and Transport, the Honorable JoBeth Colby Davis. And not only has this happened, but Madam Speaker, on the 22nd of June, the year of our Lord,
Amen.
2023,
Yay.
the Honorable Prime Minister will lead a delegation to the newly built Ocean Hole subdivision of Rock Sound to issue the first keys to 6 homeowners. You hold one. Hold one. 6 keys of the newly constructed homes to the homeowners on Eleuthera. The first affordable housing program in Eleuthera. History. Madam Speaker, just results, Madam Speaker. Just results. Madam Speaker, this administration continues to show the Bahamian people that we really care and that the decisions we make are with them in mind. we continue to fight for the regular man, for the people on the Family Islands who have been neglected for far too long. Never before has the Family Islands received this kind of attention. Never. This Davis administration is result-driven. And while I'm talking about the provisions made for Family Islands, which falls under my ministry's portfolio, I wish to delve into an aspect of the budget that affects Family Island development. As you are aware, the government of the Bahamas has continued its commitment to Family Island encouragement, which over the years has proven to be beneficial to various residents, communities where economic activity is needed to be supported by the government. While there has always been equal access to the subvention implemented by the government, it is clear that the Bahamian residents have not always fully been able to take advantage of this opportunity as they should. We have found, however, that many foreigners have indeed utilized these subventions and as a result have built many homes that they are using for VRBOs and Airbnb markets that is rivaling hotel room occupancy in many of our Family Islands. While we encourage Bahamians to utilize this economic subvention, we are implementing measures to ensure that it's not taken advantage of. As such, this administration is reducing the waiver to 50% for foreigners only who have homes or are building homes in the Family Islands. This will help to drive the local economy and encourage foreigners to purchase from local hardware stores.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, Bahamians will maintain access to 100% of these concessions with additional items added to the list of exempt supplies. Madam Speaker, I now turn to local government. The proposed budget for the Department of Local Government is $55,507,012 for the 2023-2024 fiscal period. Family Island local government councils can breathe a sigh of relief to note that this administration continues to put their needs and issues as a priority. Under this allocation, local government councils will receive a 10% increase in their operational budget expenses. Madam Speaker, local councils will receive a 10% increase in their operational budget expenses. And I know sometimes that 10% don't sound like much, so I pulled out the budget. For Freeport, Marco City, your council gets extra $71,000 to do some things in your constituency. South Eleuthera gets $56,000 extra dollars per annum. Central Eleuthera, $54,000. North Andros, $55,000. Barry Islands, $72,000. West End gets extra $71,000 per year. So, and this is 10% straight across the board, Madam Speaker. We're going to help these local councils mold the communities that they live in. Many governments promised it, Madam Speaker, but this one delivered. Just results, Madam Speaker. No big deal, just results. You will note that under successive governments, the operational budget was cut 3 times. 3 times under former administrations. Having sat in the chair as a local government practitioner, I know firsthand the challenges that townships face. And that is why this initiative is so important for me to announce under my ministerial portfolio. I will continue to advocate for additional resources for local councils. As times have changed, so has the need to ensure that these councils have the funding to not only take care of their daily needs, but that they have the resources to ensure that certain revenue-generating streams of income can be created to fully realize the potential and impact of local government throughout the Family Island communities. Madam Speaker, on January 26, 2023, the acting director at the time submitted a comprehensive annual year review report, and I'll table this. And this document, Madam Speaker, is being reviewed by the Office of the Attorney General. And once completed, will provide new initiatives, new rules and regulations that can be enforced by local government councils to advance local government and ensure that the various communities served can thrive. Madam Speaker, the Department of Local Government has a staff of 356 persons and 512 local government practitioners throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And there is a fiscal presence on each and every inhabited island. There are a total of 33 Family Island districts that man the affairs of the Department of Local Government on a daily basis, with the headquarters being located in New Providence. Madam Speaker, true to every success story is the caring of one staff, and that's human capital. You can see, ask what happened in Exuma this past weekend, the importance of local government.
Yes.
And I want to thank the council members, the acting permanent secretary, Neil Campbell, Administrator Donald Rowe, council, chief counselor, who played an intricate role in ensuring that we were able to get access to tractor services to relieve some of the water pressure, and work closely with NEMA and with the Minister of Disaster Preparedness to ensure that it was a collective effort to help to relieve some of the issues there in Exuma. And I want to thank them for that, Madam Speaker. These individuals who are with us each and every day and are a part of one's work family. During the fiscal year, 16 persons were confirmed in posts, increasing the personal emoluments by $17,250, and back pay paid by the Ministry of Public Service totaling $247,000. 9 persons are expected to come over from the Public Service Professional Engagement Program onto the permanent and pensionable establishment. And with the increase in minimum wage by this caring government, I would have directed the Department of Local Government to compile a comprehensive listing of all district council staff that are salaried. I am pleased to announce that the matter is resolved and 161 local government employees who are not up to minimum wage will be not only brought back up, will be brought back up with back pay. I would like to thank the executive team at local government and the Ministry of Finance for ensuring that the staff of local government throughout the Commonwealth are on par with the remainder of the Bahamas. Madam Speaker, 6 former Family Island administrators were recruited to augment the requisite number of Family Island administrators needed. A total of 52 persons were interviewed, not only on New Providence, but throughout the Family Islands. Madam Speaker, as there is succession planning in every ministry and department, this same was done in this instance. As there were a number of Family Island administrators that were about to retire or their contracts were due to come to an end, the Cabinet of the Bahamas gave permission for 13 individuals to be hired. Madam Speaker, first time ever, individuals were selected from across the Family Islands, from Mayaguana in the south to Grand Bahama and in between, male and female. What is unique, though, is that although we have 33 districts, not all have Family Island administrators, resident administrators. And as logistics would allow, Madam Speaker, areas like the Exuma Keys, Grand Key, Green Turtle Key, Rum Key, Morris Island, and Sweetings Key now either have a fiscal or more enhanced presence on the island by a way of strategic posting.
Just results.
Just for many areas, it's the first that we have the requisite number of Family Island administrators that are needed in a long time.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, as additional, of note of good news for local government, as we can agree that local government was created to decentralize, not centralize. Its core mantra, a government nearest the people, is designed to build local economies. Now, as a caring leader, Madam Speaker, it was agreed that Family Islands should build their own local community economies. And in the new budget, effective July 1st, all operational expenses items will be reinstated and will form part of a district budgets.
Wow.
So as a former council member, Madam Speaker, this move to decentralize the budget
Yes.
is a move in the
Yes.
right direction.
Empowerment. Empowerment.
Instead of waiting on months to receive basic stationery and toiletries, councils can purchase locally,
It's a good move.
thereby increasing the economic activity of their own communities.
Just results, that's all. That's it.
Madam Speaker, this administration is about the bottom line, adding value and resources on the ground where it's needed most. Madam Speaker, small scale and capital works. $900,000 was used to undertake capital projects, and an additional $654,000 was used to effect community cleanup exercises in each of the 33 districts. Not one district was left out, Madam Speaker. This initiative was dubbed Spring Cleaning 2023, the Road to 50. We aim to partner with all members of Parliament, and this time it was to demonstrate our support for the member of Seabreeze and the Independent Secretariat, who I must say is doing an exemplary job in her role. Madam Speaker, from the inception of this administration, I have said, and I will continue to say, having a Prime Minister, a Deputy Prime Minister, and a Minister for the Family Islands, all representing Family Island constituencies, Madam Speaker, could only be a good thing. To date, I have not been wrong. Family Islanders can truly feel that this administration is prioritizing their needs as we move to ensure that the entire Bahamas is consistently developed holistically. Madam Speaker, despite our political differences, we serve at the pleasure of the same people whose lives we wish to touch in a positive way. As such, we have reinstituted the Junior Local Government Program. The Junior Local Government Council is our nation's feeder program. This program is intended to be in high schools, both public and private, and will incorporate comprehensive schools where necessary. Madam Speaker, I have said over and repeatedly that governments are continuous. And when you find a program that works for the people, it should be continued. Yes. Simple. Upgraded, of course, if needed, but definitely continued. Madam Speaker, in this program, students from grades 7 to 12 will now participate, when previously only grades 10 to 12 were allowed. Madam Speaker, there will also be a pilot program launched in New Providence as well for the very first time. My thinking as a minister is to introduce local government through training, experience, and immersion. Madam Speaker, this initiative is a partnership between this ministry, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of National Security, and the Ministry of Transport and Housing. Madam Speaker, the Parliamentary Registration Department, which is under the remit of the Minister of National Security, would be there to carry out the electoral process, which include voters' cards, ink, poll workers, declaration forms, and campaigning. In a like manner, the Post Office will facilitate local government junior council. This is a united endeavor where all members of Parliament can participate. The intent is to provide funding for each participating school. Madam Speaker, my parliamentary secretary, now was the first to jump on board and pledge his support, not for one, but for all schools in this constituency. Other members of Parliament soon came on as well and made pledges. Madam Speaker, imagine a member of Parliament for Cat Island, Rum Cay, and San Salvador committing to all schools in this area. That's leadership, Madam Speaker. And you know, as a member of Parliament for Central and South Eleuthera, they cost me, I had to match it too. So I had to, I had to make sure and support all my schools in my constituency. Because when it comes to our nation's youth, we all have to be in.
Yeah.
You know, Madam Speaker, some members opposite already are pledged as well. In particular, the member for Central Grand Bahama, Honorable Iram Lewis, who immediately gave us positive response and support to this program right away. Madam Speaker, this program is bipartisan, and we would like to see members on both sides of the divide contribute to the success of this program as our nation's youth is our nation's future. Madam Speaker, I am most grateful to my cabinet colleagues for buying into my vision to launch a help desk, which is now being realized. As the government moves more and more to digitization and online services, sometimes there is a lag time within our Family Island communities. This becomes frustrating at times, and it affects not only jobs contractually, but revenue. It is intended to have over 200 fully functional online government services. Wow. So, Madam Speaker, this Family Island Help Desk is here to do just that, help. Madam Speaker, there exists on the Family Island's mom and pop stores the need for passports, birth certificates, yes, police records, business license, and on and on. Yes. Madam Speaker, the help desk will officially be launched on the 1st of July, yes, 2023, yes, yes, after weeks of training. Its 13-member team with their distinctive zones, North, Central, and South Bahamas, to bring relief and lessen the headache of ordinary citizens.
Just results.
Just results, Madam Speaker, just results. As I continue to expand in this budget, accomplishments of the ministry and the way forward, I turn to the Ministry of Agriculture. Madam Speaker, for the 2023-2024 budget, food security is slated for an investment of $5.8 million in the recurrent budget. This is proposed for my ministry to support our continued initiatives and projects related to the government's food security agenda. We are being very aggressive to reduce imports by 25% yes, by 2025. Yes, yes. Madam Speaker, the Department of Agriculture is a body of all agricultural services and products in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It is a multifaceted agency whose core principle includes looking after all aspects of agricultural research and education, including horticulture, natural resources management, agricultural extension, animal science, economic statistics, and marketing. To this end, Madam Speaker, the staff of the Department of Agriculture is tasked with fulfilling its mission to create an environment through structural change and to enhance the sustainable development of the land and water resources of the Bahamas. These efforts are aimed at reducing food imports and expanding linkages to manufacturing and tourism in order to ensure that agricultural development will be a catalyst for future economic growth and development. The functions of this department are carried out by a small cadre of highly trained administrative and technical staff, agronomists, horticulturists, livestock, and extension officers, veterinarians, chemists, plant pathologists, marketing experts, and economists, whose hard work enables the department to service the farming community throughout the country while recommending successful policies to achieve best practices in the agricultural sector, including GRAC, vet services, animal control unit, abattoir, food technology, and extension services. In this current budget, the Department of Agriculture, in its effort to build capacity, hired 6 technical officers to add to the staff complement. Madam Speaker, the government of the Bahamas recognizes that agriculture plays a vital role for the food security in the Bahamas. The Department of Agriculture has faced many challenges over the years and has lost many skilled technical officers due primarily to retirements, which have caused significant manpower shortage in our technical areas. As noted before in previous contributions, the ministry is continuously combating a manpower shortage of trained technical officers in vital areas. We are in preparation of hiring new veterinary surgeons who will aid in the mandate of protecting our ecosystem from biohazardous materials and invasive species. And as we speak about staffing, Madam Speaker, it should be known that I am big on leadership, I'm big on succession, I'm big on strategic planning. The department is at a pivotal juncture as food security remains a high priority of this administration. It is evident that in no way we are able to be successful in our goals with a limited amount of technical and trained staff employed at the department. This coming fiscal year, Madam Speaker, We will be working assiduously seeking talented individuals to join the team of professionals at DOA. They will ensure that the mandate for the organization is revamped and implemented to prioritize food security, actively assist farmers to become successful, and to create an environment that transcends government administrations, as food security in its simplest terms affects everyone, regardless of race, class, socioeconomic status, everybody, Madam Speaker. We will look to BAMC and the University of the Bahamas to source and supply a cadre of technical experts to lead this initiative where practicable. My team at the Ministry and at the Department are working together to outline a comprehensive needs assessment and to publish the same for July 1st, 2023. I want to thank my colleague and member for Golden Gates. As through the Ministry of Public Service, she is prioritizing the employment of new hires through the Public Service Global Fund and the PAP program.
Golden Gates for you.
Just results, Madam Speaker.
Just results.
Throw that in there. Madam Speaker, GRAC should be the foundation of agricultural development in the Bahamas. The farm comprises of over 200 acres and is committed to the development of crops, livestock, and pasture. In addition, the staff should provide local farmers with technical training through workshops and seminars to support the modernization of their farming techniques and to advise of best practices in the industry. The work of GRAC is facilitated through the National Swine Breeding Program Center, Small Ruminants, Crops Plant Propagation Unit, and Tractor Services. We are going to revamp these services to ensure they fulfill their mandate. And in this upcoming budget, I propose to place considerable focus on GRAC to ensure that it has the administrative and the technical capacity to advance food security throughout the Bahamas and ensure that the farmers are a top priority as they are our allies in food and livestock program production. Madam Speaker, the National Swine Breeding Center is to develop swine production in the country through efforts coordinated through the Breeding Center, Resource Center, demonstration of hospitality care, extension services, and farm inspections. The NSBC is home to approximately 100 breeding sows, consisting of Landrace, Yorkshire, Duroc, and Hampshire breeds, and various crosses of the same, resulting in a herd of superior reproductive quality and growth performance. Madam Speaker, during this budget cycle, we were able to renovate the nursery facilities, and we also completed renovations for the collection of waste, and we are upgrading the stand for the waste separator machine. These will improve the waste management system and minimize pollution of the air and groundwater. Madam Speaker, we hope to purchase 40 heads of pure breeds of pigs, which are intended to inject new bloodlines into the herd and contain a genetic diversity to improve local swine production. We will introduce a Berkshire breed, which is new to GRAC, and this breed is known to have a superior meat quality and expected to improve the earnings of local farmers. The department purchased 24 farrowing crates to be used in the renovation of the farrowing house, which is currently dilapidated. Madam Speaker, from the NSBC, GRAC is also home of the National Small Ruminant Herd. The sheep herd consists of 250 heads comprising of breeders, lambs, and rhinos. Our goat herd comprises of 60 heads, which consists of breeders, kids, and rhinos as well. The small ruminant unit continues to produce animals at subsidized rates to farmers and to assist with the continued development of the sector. We are pleased to announce that the long-awaited genetic infusion of improved bloodline for Bahamian farmers has finally arrived in this country. Madam Speaker, my ministry is currently evaluating our farmers' potential to utilize these animals as a part of their breeding program. We will conduct a seminar to sensitize farmers to proper breeding schedules, and in doing so, these farmers will benefit from the imported genetics to improve their current herd. The process of distribution will take place in the not-too-distant future, so farmers, keep in touch with the ministry, and we will be a significant benefit to the local farming community having access to a bloodline that will outperform our current genetic pool. In this budget period, we are currently carrying out necessary repairs and upgrades to the kidding barns to facilitate housing for animals. Madam Speaker, a renewed focus is being given to the crops plant propagation unit at GRAC. We will begin with the restoration and efficient utilization of the existing greenhouse and hoop houses. Demonstrative hydroponic units will be installed to display what can be implemented on farms of all sizes across the nation. These units will include nutrient film technique, ebb and flow tables, vertical towers, and deep water culture systems, which will not only be for demonstration, but produce seedings for farmers and supplemental feeds for livestock. These seeds will be tested of a tested variety which have been selected due to their viability in our soils and climate. Seedlings will be available to farmers at a very, very low price as early as August 2023. Madam Speaker, we have also entered into a partnership with the Republic of China, who themselves are leaders in the reduction of agriculture and technology, to improve technical support to construct a number of greenhouses on an acre of land at GRAC. They have been working hard to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from crop and livestock farming, increase soil carbon sinks, improve biodiversity protection, facilitate the restoration of agricultural ecosystems, and support local governments to integrate environmental and decarbonization goals in rural revitalization plans and investment projects. Work is also being done in multiple fields to provide farmers and members of co-ops with training, agricultural extension services, and encourage farmers and food processors to adopt climate-intelligent agricultural technologies and good agricultural practices. Madam Speaker, fodder of grain sprouts are grown worldwide in varying systems as a supplement to livestock feed for all classes of animals. We know that livestock has been a vaccine issue for our farmers for a long time, and we are seeking to help them correct the issues. While fodder may not fulfill all the dietary needs of the animals, it is extremely easy to accomplish and do due to its high nutritional value and highly digestible form, and it will assist farmers to greatly reduce their feed costs and improve quality of the life for their animals. Due to its broad usage, barley will be the sprouted grain of choice. My ministry continues to support backyard farming, Madam Speaker, as Bahamians continue to value the importance of establishing their own gardens at home. And I must congratulate the member for Central Grand Bahama. He continues with this program. I see the member for Yamakra as already as farmers market. And they're popping up all over, and that goes to show the interest and the love for agriculture throughout this country, and the nation is buying into the need to feed themselves. Thank you. Madam Speaker, land preparation continues to form a part of the service provided by GRAC through the Tractor Services Unit. Land preparation services include disking, mowing, and ridging of raised beds. And these services are offered to the farming community for a nominal fee. Madam Speaker, in my previous communication, I indicated my ministry's intent to extend the assistance of land preparation to farmers on 3 additional islands last year. Madam Speaker, just results again. I am pleased to announce that the wheel tractors, the roam discs, ridging body, and bush hog mowers for this initiative have been purchased. They are in New Providence at a total cost of approximately $1 million. The farmers asked for it, Madam Speaker, and they are getting it.
Yes, sir. Just results. Just results.
Result-driven, Madam Speaker, result-driven.
Just results. That's all it is.
These are now being prepared
Simple as that. Just
for distribution, and each selected island receiving one of each land preparation equipment. It should be noted that currently the ministry is in the process of clearing lands and the construction of roads to access an additional 90 acres of farmlands that have been issued to farmers. Madam Speaker, land leases have been signed for some years, and farmers will finally have access to their lands to begin or continue farming. This work began on the 29th of May and is expected to be completed by June 30th of this year. Okay, I ain't enough. Madam Speaker, this year, we are continuing the chicken layer program as a part of the food security component of my ministry by purchasing, 10,000 day-old chicks. These chicks have been distributed to schools, NGOs, NPOs, and backyard farmers. Participants will each receive up to 50 layer birds. In addition to the chicks, they will receive feed and bedding for up to 5 months of age at no cost. A vital part of the sustainability program is purchasing incubators to establish a small hatchery unit at GRAC. We will purchase 10,000 fertile eggs to hatch and incubate layer eggs for this program. Madam Speaker, it is important to address logistical challenges and fluctuating prices that small farmers experience in accessing chicks for their poultry operation. The long-term goal is to establish a breeder flock for both layer and broiler chicks and complete the cycle for poultry production, thereby improving the sustainability of poultry production in the Bahamas. We are currently in the process of renovating the facility at GRAC that is used to house the layer program. The improved facility will provide space and suitable housing to brood chicks, as well as maintain monitoring flock for the program. Madam Speaker, the Veterinary Services Unit within the Department of Agriculture is responsible for a wide range of functions, including the issuance of import permits for companion animals, livestock, and exotic animals, as well as export permits. Moreover, the DOA VSU also provides the key service of veterinary extension to livestock and poultry farmers nationwide. Madam Speaker, this arm of the department is crucial to our country's line of defense for farmer instruction and public education against animal health and disease. The veterinary surgeons also have charge over the animal control unit, whose responsibility is to control strays, roaming, and nuisance animals, as well as maintain temporary custody of dogs in legal matters. This unit also promotes community engagement and public education in responsible animal ownership. Madam Speaker, the Animal Control Unit is currently located at the entrance to Chippenham near the Botanical Gardens. The facility is old, dilapidated, and grossly inadequate for the large number of stray and unwanted animals. This year, we will be placing a special focus on this unit. And I want to thank the very, very active Animal Control Board for their passion and concern to ensure that we work together to collectively improve the conditions of the animals at the unit. The issue with stray dogs is especially concerning with packs roaming the streets of Nassau. A particularly disturbing situation is the number of dogs which attack humans. We have made an amendment to the Animal Control Act, Madam Speaker, to allow for the microchipping of dogs. While this isn't mandatory, it is revolutionary.
Yes, it is.
Because in the sense that once dogs are microchipped, they can be scanned.
Yes.
And once scanned, this provides information such as the owner of the animal, the animal's medical history, as well as whether the animal has been spayed or neutered.
This is good.
This will be an added defense in animal attacks in identifying the owners of the animals involved in the crimes.
Yes.
And in order to incentivize the service, once implemented, there will be no charge instead of the regular dog license fee. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Agriculture and Marine Resources also intends to agree on a memorandum of understanding with the Bahamas Alliance for the Animal Rights and Kindness. The ministry will lease land to establish a sanctuary, and you'll see in the upcoming weeks the plans of this, which will provide care and shelter for animals that have been abused, neglected, or have special needs, while complementing BARC's Spay and Neuter initiative. BARC has partnered with leading overseas rescues and Pirate Potcake Rescue to create the country's first educational and rehabilitation sanctuary. The Pirate Potcake Rescue and Learning Center, through rescue, rehabilitation, and companionship, will teach compassion and respect for humanity and all its living creatures. The approach to the sanctuary is to end the unnecessary suffering for animals in the Bahamas. It will do this through medical care, education, spay and neuter programs, enforcing the laws, and community relationship building. A learning center will be incorporated that will focus on educating Bahamians, and particularly children, on kindness to animals and how to care for animals. As Mahatma Gandhi said, the greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. The sanctuary will incorporate an animal hospital to provide on-site care, and the animals will be rehabilitated with an ultimate goal of adopting them to loving homes. Wow. The sanctuary will have an adoption center and enter into strategic partnerships with reputable rescue organizations abroad and local institutions to provide for opportunities for visitors to adopt their very own Royal Bahamas pot cake. Just results, just results, Madam Speaker, just results. You want one? Yeah. The department continues to offer, Madam Speaker, duty-free concessions to registered farmers who submit applications from throughout the Bahamas on those items listed in Schedule B of the Tariff Act. This initiative allows them to bring in agricultural goods either free of duty or at a reduced duty rate. For this fiscal period, 176 permits were granted, and this valued at approximately $2,891,000 for the period July 2022 to date. Madam Speaker, I am pleased to announce that at 2 p.m. on June 19th, the Ministry and the Department of Transformation and Digitization will host a press conference to launch 12 additional online applications that will allow farmers, pet owners, and mariners to access the ministry online to apply for a variety of services. Madam Speaker, over the last year, you have heard me speak on this initiative. Our ministry currently has 18 applications already accessible online through my gateway, and this will be an additional 12 services that will take it to 30.
Just results.
Madam Speaker, this ministry is leading the charge to digitize, and we are pleased to have done this within this budget cycle as promised. I extend my sincere thanks to DTAD, the member for Bain and Grantstown, and the staff at the ministry, including Ms. Jacqueline Fox, who has consistently pushed this initiative to completion. Madam Speaker, as part of GRAC, the Food Technology Laboratories continue to be a pivotal aspect for food preservation development and technical training for the Bahamas. The laboratory has operated in excess of 45 years, providing research and development, training, assistance, and technical information and extension services. The objective of the laboratory is to add additional earnings for the farmer, meanwhile reduce post-harvest loss and provide products with more added value. It is anticipated, Madam Speaker, that we will construct food processing community kitchens on 3 islands during this fiscal year, Andros, Cat Island, and Eleuthera. And these community kitchens will be constructed and outfitted with processing equipment and staff to act as prototypes for the remaining islands. The community kitchens will allow farmers and entrepreneurs to can and package agricultural products by adding value, thereby reducing post-harvest loss.
Just results. That's what it is, Senator.
Just results. You know, Madam Speaker, the equipment's already in country, so we only got to install it. So in the next year, we'll get it done. We can put one there, too. We'll use you as. Madam Speaker, we are committed to increasing entrepreneurs in farming and technology, and we are committed to providing employment opportunities. Madam Speaker, I now turn my attention to the Department of Marine Resources. Madam Speaker, I am happy to report to this Honorable House that the first meeting of the Flats Fishing Committee was held in March of this year. Madam Speaker, you would recall that I reminded this Honorable House of the enactment of the Flats Fishing Regulations, which were enacted in 2017 and called for this 12-member committee. Here we are, 6 years later, and we are just assembling this flat fishing community. This is another demonstration of our assertiveness in my ministry. The committee comprises a section of representatives, including bone fishing guides, the Ministry of Tourism, BAMSI, NGOs, Bahamian marine scientists, the Ministry of Finance, and DMR. Madam Speaker, I look forward to the work of this important, enthusiastic, energetic, and knowledgeable committee. Madam Speaker, I am also happy to advise that as of May of this year, 8 additional services have been added to the online fisheries permitting My Gateway portal. They include requests for duty-free imports of fishing supplies, duty-free imports of flat fishing boats, duty-free importation of aquaculture, fish farming. Again, we encourage commercial fishermen, bone fishers, and entrepreneurs to take advantage of these services, which will help you save time and money, and most importantly, give persons in the Family Islands access to services that otherwise they would not have access to. These services are available through the My Gateway portal, and that achievement speaks to this administration's commitment in our blueprint for change, which speaks to modernizing the permit application to ensure a quick and seamless process for commercial and recreational fishing. Madam Speaker, in May of 2023, a Marine Patrol craft was delivered to Abaco, replacing the patrol craft that was destroyed as a result of Hurricane Dorian. On September 15, 2022, I commissioned, along with my colleagues, a 25-foot contender Marine Patrol craft in Mangrove Key, Andros, and on September 16th, in conjunction with the opening of the new office, was the commission of a new 25-foot contender patrol craft in Bimini. I thank the members of South Andros, Bimini, and West End, and a member of Parliament for the Barry Islands and North Andros for their participation and support at both events.
No, we thank you. We thank you for just the results. We just got the results. Thank you.
It is envisioned that a presence on the island and the water will act as a deterrent to IUU fishing. I note that both crafts were accompanied by 2 F-150 trucks to assist with the movement of them on land, as well as assist officers with the field work on the ground on the island. And finally, Madam Speaker, I expect to commission a new Marine Patrol craft and truck package in Exuma later this year. This new craft has already been ordered, and in this current budget, and we await its arrival. And in the new budget, we have allocated funds for the acquisition of another Marine Patrol craft and truck package, which will be deployed in Cat Island to assist with the fisheries enforcement in that district. It is our view, Madam Speaker, in the ministry that we continue to build capacity as it relates to the responsibilities at DMR, as we continue to guard our heritage, our marine environment for the Bahamian people. Madam Speaker, in December of 2022, 6 Department of Marine Resource officers from the DMR's Grand Bahama office, Bimini office, Central Andros office, and our New Providence office participated in the Standards of Training Certification and Watchkeeping STCW for seafarers and Class B license training. The STCW is a prerequisite for persons wanting to pursue their Captain's Class A and B license. I am happy to report that all who took the test were successful. We've got some smart people in Bimini.
Yes, sir.
This brings the total number of DML officers certified and qualified as a Captain B license to 17 over the past 3 years.
Yes, just results.
Once again, I would like to express thanks and appreciation to the Nature Conservancy for underwriting the cost of the training for the DMR officers who participated in the latest training, and for the GMNI who facilitated the training as well. Madam Speaker, there's an old adage that says if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. And if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for a lifetime. In my contribution to 2022-2023 budget debate, I noted in our government's blueprint for change as it relates to create job training initiatives for young entrepreneurial fishermen. My ministry, through DMR, has embarked on a series of fisheries training programs designed to teach fishermen in the Family Islands how to construct fish ponds. The main objectives of this training is to train fishers in the art and techniques of fish pond construction and to create an opportunity for an alternative livelihood for some fishermen to commence small startup businesses in fish pond and land crab construction. Madam Speaker, I'm also happy to report that the Bahamas passed its MSC assessment in late 2022. Since becoming certified, the fishery has passed annual audits, all annual audits, including the latest conducted in 2022, as I already mentioned. This was due to the efforts of stakeholders such as DMR, the Bahamas Marine Exporters Association, RBDF, TNC, and the KP Lutheran Institute. The fishery is now preparing for another full assessment, which is required every 5 years. And this, what's so important about this assessment, Madam Speaker, is that with this, it helps to guarantee a top price for the fishermen of this country in regards when they go to sell their lobster. So to us, it might seem just like something on a piece of paper, but as a fisherman, it's important to keep a stable Yeah, so this certification is important for the stability of pricing. And when I was in my former life as a fisherman, it's something that we fought hard for, especially during the 2008 economic crisis, to help to stabilize the pricing of crawfish. Madam Speaker, my ministry and the broader government has appropriately placed tremendous focus on tackling food security. However, there are also other urgent matters that the government and the nation as a whole must address that are not necessarily at the forefront of the public's attention. One of these matters is the stony coral tissue loss disease. This fatal disease that affects corals emerged in 2014 in Florida and was detected for the first time in the Bahamas in 2019 in Grand Bahama. As of May of this year, SCTLD has been confirmed around 10 Bahamian islands and has been detected in numerous Caribbean territories. There are many threats to coral reefs. However, this is much worse than any modern-day coral tissue disease. It rapidly kills corals, it spreads rapidly in the order of 1 mile per month, and it affects 24 species. It is not an exaggeration to say that some species of corals in the Bahamas and the rest of the Caribbean region are under serious threat of extinction. A collaborative national effort is needed to mitigate the effects of this disease that can impact many aspects of our lives, including tourism, storm wave prevention, and yes, even food security, to name a few. I spoke about this issue during my budget communication last year, and when we speak about problems, Deputy Speaker, we must find solutions. One significant stride towards this national effort occurred on May 18th of this year. There was an agreement signed to create the Bahamas Coral Gene Bank at Atlantis, Paradise Island. The signatories included the government of the Bahamas, the Perry Institute for Marine Science, UB, and Atlantis. This gene bank, which will be graciously housed and significantly funded by Atlantis, will be used to hold hundreds of live corals isolated from this disease. The corals will be grown, propagated, and replanted when the coast is clear. Each signatory will play a very significant role in the running of the gene bank as well as training Bahamians. But due to time constraints, I will not be able to elaborate more on it at this time. But I will say that this is very important, the same as other countries have seed banks in different parts to protect themselves if they have a devastating storm. This coral gene bank will help to pull coral and help to keep them living until we are able to replant them. Madam Speaker, while speaking about alternative livelihoods, we must also seek to diversify our mariculture industry, where there is a need to conduct surveys to ascertain the amount and locations of sea cucumber stocks within the Bahamas. This information is needed to formulate management strategies that will enable the development of sustainable sea cucumber fishery. It should also be in mind that the fishing industry has expressed an interest for the reinitiation of the sea cucumber fishery amid the ongoing national need to develop livelihood opportunities based on the fishing industry. Due to strong evidence that sea cucumber numbers were being very rapidly depleted in the Bahamas, commercial sea cucumber exports were largely ceased in 2011. This rapid depletion confirmed what has been clearly documented and cautioned in global sea cucumber fisheries. This is very high susceptibility, which requires caution when developing management strategies and reducing survey options, including options such as harvest as you study methods to pay for studies. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it would be best to firstly conduct studies to ascertain sea cucumbers abundance so harvest levels have a more appropriate basis. All of this will be done as part of a national effort to develop sea cucumber fisheries, and where appropriate, species may be selected for aquaculture development. Mr. Deputy Speaker, DMR continues to make strides with monitoring the state of fisheries, including the queen conch, which has received a lot of local and even international media attention. One key part of this is the collection of biological data, such as the individual sizes and weights of fisheries resources. This has been taking place consistently in New Providence for approximately 2 years and sporadically in prior years. Preliminary analysis have taken place and revealed a few things that merit further investigation. In this upcoming budget cycle, we'll be doing a conch conservation plan and study as well. But for example, 2018 and 19, the average size of conch mashing in New Providence was 13.4 millimeters and 13.02 millimeters respectively for lip thickness. However, in late 2020, the average size of a conch was found to be 15.87 millimeters. And thereafter, in 2021, 2022, it's reduced to 14.8, then 13.4, respectively. While the analysis are preliminary, it would appear that COVID, or perhaps Hurricane Dorian, or a combination of both, may have resulted in decreased fishing pressure that allowed resources to flourish more than usual. Yes. We will continue to pay attention to the level of pressure on fishing resources that we have. We will continue to target those and make great efforts to ensure that our resources, and we'll find alternative methods of livelihoods and export products if necessary. Mr. Deputy Speaker, you'll recall during my supplemental budget remarks in February, I indicated to this Honorable House a plan to construct additional office space on the compound of DMR to accommodate additional staffing. I'm happy to report that a request for bids to the construction of the new office space has gone out to tender with a view that the new office building will be completed by the year 2023. Mr. Deputy Speaker, during the 2022-2023 fiscal year, the Department of Cooperatives has accomplished the following. They developed the Department's Standard Operating Procedures Manual, established guidelines to enforce the reporting of statutory reserves, qualifying and equity shares, increased operational efficiency through staff training and development by facilitating workshops, namely interpreting financial statements and building financial business plan models for cooperatives, facilitated 7 annual general meetings and board of directors training for new registered cooperatives, facilitated 3 distinguished lectures in Grand Bahama, Eleuthera, and New Providence. 3 staff members received international cooperative leadership training, facilitated 2 youth agri-forums in Grand Bahama and Eleuthera, and also the department successfully registered 7 cooperatives in 2022-2023, 1 being in Cat Island, 2 in Grand Bahama, and 4 in New Providence. And presently, there are 4 groups in cooperative training. Newer initiatives for 2023-2024 include the revitalization of the APAC's Body National League. Mr. Deputy Speaker, currently, all cooperative societies do not have a statutory depository facility to large member shares based on the Cooperative Shares Societies Act. My ministry seeks to revitalize the Apex body by hosting the National Cooperative Congress Conference, a venue that invites all cooperatives to address issues facing the sector. In addition, member cooperatives will be given the opportunity to elect members to the board of directors and supervisory committees. And this umbrella organization, once operational, will allow the opportunity to advocate my government, my ministry, on matters that affect the continued growth and development of the cooperative movement. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in 2024, the department will celebrate its 50th anniversary of cooperative development in the Bahamas. The celebration includes a cooperative effort with the Bahamas Cooperative League Limited to launch a cadre of events during the year. And some of the activities include a 50th anniversary gala banquet, 50 cooperative icons, 50th anniversary legacy booklet, countdown to celebration, and the cooperative challenge. Mr. Deputy Speaker, when we speak about cooperatives, I don't think that we really understand the impact that they can make in small family island communities. I think about Spanish Wells and how the fishing industry has grown from 1985 to what we see now. And most of that is from cooperative development. Persons own shares on the boat, equal share opportunities. They share the expenses, but they also share in the success. And that is how the fishing industry in Spanish Wells was built off of cooperative development. So I urge the farmers, I urge fishermen across this country to take advantage of that department and to work together to ensure that you not only become successful as a team player, but you become successful economically as well. Madam Speaker, Mr. Deputy Speaker, as previously indicated, the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs is responsible for the administration of public markets as well. These public markets are Arawak Key, Potters Key, the market at Gladstone Road, Montague Ramp, and now the Blue Hill Road Farmers Market. Public markets play a vital role in the Bahamas economy. These public markets offer a variety of products for sale, which range from freshly caught fisheries products, fruits and vegetables, to enjoying your favorite freshly cooked Bahamian cuisine. Public markets also seek to encourage entrepreneurship, create employment, and to contribute towards our gross domestic product. Mr. Deputy Speaker, at Arawak Key is one of the most popular destinations for Bahamians and tourists alike. This venue is world-renowned and is listed as a tourist attraction by the Ministry of Tourism and Aviation. It is featured in several tourism guides across the world. Mr. Deputy Speaker, you must note that it is the small victories that I celebrate, as the issues at Arawak Key are legendary. I am happy to report that at Arawak Key, or Fish Fry, we have refurbished the restrooms, the modernized, automated equipment, and we intend to continue to do upgrades to the surrounding facilities. In addition to the restrooms, we have repaired plumbing lines, we have installed speed bumps, and installed spotlights to address lighting issues. We intend to install security cameras and to provide additional lighting to the parking lots. The additional lights will support our initiatives to ensure the safety of staff, customers, and vendors. My ministry intends to employ a variety of methods to improve the site and facilities at Arawak Key. We are partnering with the vendors, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to bring their leases up to date and to regularize those that have been subleasing for an extended period of time. Do you know that over 10 years, no leases were collected at Arawak Key because they weren't regularized? Over 10 years. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we sat with the vendors, we sat with the committee, the Arawak Key committee, and they agreed to work along with us to ensure that they were regularized, get proper leases, to ensure, because they want to work along with us and we want to work along with them. Vendors, they have agreed to have a survey carried out, Mr. Deputy, to determine the square footage of every stall at Arawak Key to ensure that they are meeting their agreements and paying the correct fees to operate. And I want to thank them. Because ain't too many people. Ain't too many people volunteer to pay. But they, they was willing because they want to have their leases, they want to be up to date, and they want to do it the right way. And they just haven't been approached to make it happen. So we're glad to work along with them to ensure that they are regularized at Ararat Key. Mr. Deputy Speaker, with respect to Potter's Key, we have upgraded the restroom facilities there, and other upgrades are presently taking place to the restrooms and the garbage bin area. We have repaired potholes to the main entrance and the exit, and we have removed derelict vehicles, pallets, unsightly debris from the garbage bin area. Further, Mr. Deputy Speaker, several lights at this market were refurbished by BPL, and a booth was installed to house our security personnel. Notwithstanding the work facilitated to improve the lighting at Potter's Key, there is a need for more and better street lighting. The implementation of proper lighting would provide for better security for customers, vendors, and staff. It will also be an assistance to the police and the security personnel in the course of patrolling. The installation of cameras will also be an asset, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and my ministry hopes to facilitate the same in the upcoming fiscal year. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we also propose to pursue an initiative to ensure that vendors have access to electricity, and this has been talked about for a long time, so they can get rid of generators that they are currently using to generate power. The causeway at Potter's Key needs paving, and this would make commuting a more comfortable and pleasant experience with easy access, smoother traffic flow, and less traffic congestion. It is anticipated that we will partner with the Ministry of Works and Utilities in this regard. Mr. Deputy Speaker, through diligent supervision of Potter's Key, my ministry has collected more than $30,000 in rental fees and arrears for the period January 2023 to April 2023. The payment of these fees are essential as they offset some of the costs that we incur for providing the necessary governmental services. With respect to the market at Gladstone Road, vendors provide a variety of products for sale. While fruits and vegetables are the focus at this market, you can also find processing products, body products, ornamental plants, and handicrafts. We want to construct semi-permanent stalls to house vendors, and these stalls will serve multiple purposes as they will also be used for the ministry's annual Agri-Fest, which takes place at that site. Mr. Deputy Speaker, upgrades are being made to this market and its surrounding area. Electricity, plumbing, and painting needs at this site will be addressed as the market continues to expand. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this administration has plans to restructure the stalls at Montague Ramp. These plans would take on a multi-governmental approach, where government agencies and corporations would be asked to assist with executing these plans. As the ministry wishes to build semi-permanent stalls for vendors that can withstand hurricanes, we also want to restructure the seawall to address water surges that may occur from time to time. And the ministry intends to strengthen the administration at this market by building an office to accommodate a manager and staff to supervise the market. In an effort to keep vendors and customers safe, we also want to provide security services at this market. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the Blue Hill Road Farmers Market. I hear Golden Gates and back. Was transferred to my ministry in September 2022. The member for Golden Gates, the Honorable Pia Grover-Rowe, I must say, she has had a hands-on approach as we seek to transform this market into a wholesome space that represents the spirit and the people of Golden Gates. As we move further to develop this market, it is our intention to construct an administration building to house a market manager and the staff. We also intend to address stall design and layout, landscaping, and fencing needs, amongst other things. There is also the need to construct restroom facilities at this market, as no such facilities presently exist. Rental leases will have to be prepared and executed as we bring this public market in line with markets across New Providence. We intend to provide for the daily collection and disposal of garbage, as well as security services. Golden Gate seen coming, man. Railroad will be all right. There's much work to be done at the market, but the partnership forged with the member for Golden Gates, I promise we'll see this to fruition as we continue to speak to the teamwork that exists among the colleagues of this Davis administration. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I now turn my focus to the 3 approved authorities that fall under the preview of the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Islands, which include BAIC, BAMC, and BAFSA. My colleagues in this place and in the Hub House will expand on BAMC and BAIC as I provide just a brief synopsis of their work and support for the Ministry of Agriculture and their roles in food security. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I turn to BAIC. They are in the business and the commercial arm of my ministry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, kindly permit me to congratulate the member of Southern Shore, Honorable Leroy Major, for the great work that he and his team are doing at BAIC. With all no, listen. Hold on. Let me do this. Let me do it back over. Let me do it back over. Mr. Deputy Speaker, kindly permit me to congratulate the member for Southern Shores, Honorable Leroy Major, for the great work that they are doing at BAIC. With offices across 6 major islands of the Bahamas, including New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Andros, Exuma, and of course Eleuthero, BAIC continues to fully advance their mandate via numerous land leases, agricultural initiatives, large economy training programs, and the creation of business linkages between cottage industry producers and large-scale enterprises. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BAIC is continuing to empower Bahamians all across our archipelago and the world through concessionary rates for land leases within its portfolio on Abaco and Eleuthero for the development of agriculture, industrial, or touristic businesses. They continue to assist with business plans and to connect aspiring entrepreneurs to funders like SBDC and BDB, giving access to concessionary land for good rates for farmers, tourism businesses, or industrial businesses like hardware stores, storage facilities, water production companies, wash houses, etc. They continue to provide seminars and workshops to train business-minded people in a variety of skills, such as handicraft making, candle and soap making, and they did one the other day for perfume making, marketing and selling the crops grown by farmers through the produce exchange, and also to revitalize spaces like the Grand Bahama Arts and Crafts Center for small handicraft and food processors to display and sell their products. Collaborating with the Ministry of Grand Bahama and tour operators to have tourists regularly visit this facility to purchase items. Additionally, I am pleased to report that BAIC has led the team which was responsible for the creation of a national crop calendar, which will shortly conclude its stakeholder engagement for implementation. This crop calendar will rationalize how farmers grow, what farmers grow, when farmers grow, and where farmers grow. The end goal of this crop calendar is the expansion of commercial opportunities for farmers to have more of their crops on more shelves and Bahamian homes. Please permit me, Mr. Deputy Speaker, to offer thanks to the team at BIC, led by Chairman Major, General Manager Troy Sampson, and Senior Manager John Burrows, who, along with Cardi, country representative Dr. Shelley Bridgewater, crafted the seminal work for the agricultural sector. Mr. Deputy Speaker, as an update to this House, BIC is also underway with the Golden Yoke poultry project, which is slated to significantly increase the local production of eggs in this country. In the first instance, a new feed mill equipment manufacturing has been completed, and it should be sent over shortly, and it's projected to be in the country in a few weeks. I'm also pleased to advise that the new state-of-the-art feed mill building plans have recently been submitted to the Ministry of Works, and construction will commence shortly. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we are on schedule as targeted to construct the grow houses, provide proper feed, and have the golden yolk in stores as early as 2024. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm pleased to advise that in view of the long-standing farming and fishing communities in the West Grand Bahama District, BAIC will be opening an office there shortly
Yes.
to provide more focused attention to those farmers,
Yes.
fishers, business persons, and orange economy artisans.
West Grand Bahama. Yes, yes, yes.
This office is located in the new government complex in
Yes,
8
yes.
Mile Rock.
Just results.
Just results, Madam Speaker.
results
Just,
is
Mr.
better.
Deputy Speaker. Huh?
Just results.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'm also pleased to advise that BIC will commence the refurbishment of the building to house the North Andrews Farm Store, located on Queens Highway, San Andreas. Mr. Deputy Speaker, with Andrews being considered as one of the breadbaskets of agriculture of this country, it is time that my ministry provide them with the necessary tools and inputs to aid this potential agricultural renaissance on Andrews becoming a reality. BAIC intends to supply the fishers and farmers in the North Andrews community with seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, small farm tools and equipment, animal feed, fishing lines and hooks, sinkers, tackle boxes, and other items essential for fishermen. I anticipate the opening of the new and essential store in short order. Mr. Deputy Speaker, on the 29th of April, at the BIC headquarters at Soldier Road Industrial Park, BIC hosted its second annual Taste and Tell event. This event was a smashing success because this event brought together Bahamian food and drink processors, along with major wholesale and retail buyers, and the Bahamian public to bring awareness and business opportunities for processors. This event allows everyday Bahamians and business owners to sample and purchase locally created sauces, jams, jellies, seasonings, peanut butter, honey, even wine. Wine, pepper sauces, and jams.
Got some wine down there, Reverend?
Wine down there, too.
Reverend, you got some wine on the pasta?
Continuing BIC in its efforts to
Come and take some
maximize
communion then.
the opportunities of the orange economy artisans who hosted another event in what they are calling their and Tell series. The first time events, dubbed Smell and Tell, was held at the Bristol Cellars Premier location on Gladstone Road on May 27th. This event brought together local artisans in the creative economy who specialize in the production of candles, soaps, lotions, potpourri, perfumes, and colognes. And just like the Taste and Tell, what it did is it brought together the public, it brought together retailers and wholesalers to sample and to patronize artisans. The event has been deemed a success, and we intend to recreate this next year. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BIC is another arm of the ministry that, is producing results, brother. Yeah, we're producing results. I ain't got enough time. I gotta let them finish. Mr. Deputy Speaker, during the Christie administration, the Bahamas embarked on the import substitution program to rebuild and renovate our country's agricultural sector. In the January 2019 Business of the Tribune, the chairman inferred that the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute would be redefined as business model under the former administration. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I want to be very clear, very clear. BAMC is not designed to be a business. The initial BAMC program entailed an associate farmers program that worked in conjunction with a tutorial demonstration farm to grow 30 crops, which offered the competitive advantage to address inflation, the high cost of importing foods, save foreign exchange, reduce food imports, and secure our food and nutrition security. One of BAMC's roles was to market the output from the Associated Farmers Program. This was working, Mr. Deputy, but the F&M abandoned it. You expect the Bahamian people to trust them, to believe that their future is secure, but it was the F&M administrator that thwarted the plans that would have had us producing our own food at record numbers. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, thank God for the PLP. We are growing exponentially. We are experimenting with a variety of technologies to grow better, to grow more, and to grow in light of climate change. The construction of greenhouse parks in Archie Bay, Mr. Deputy Speaker, has been completed, and ribbon cutting ceremony will commence in July 23. You see, we cut ribbons, we don't just groundbreak.
Get results. That's what you do.
We get results, man.
Get results.
That's a full speech of results. These greenhouses will be supplied with renewable energies to supply power to the greenhouses, which will assist the farmers who will operate these greenhouses and use savings on electricity bills, allowing them to have more funds for growth. You know, these greenhouses is not only in Eleuthera, we got them for islands all across the country. And they're already in country, and once we have the model, we get the pilot program running, they could be on all islands throughout this country to help farmers nationwide. Mr. Deputy, BAMC is pleased to announce the Extension Office in Kemps Bay, South Andrews has been opened.
Really?
Also, a location has been sought on the island of Long Island and will be opening in the coming weeks. Offices for the islands of Exuma and Grand Bahama are also being sorted out. These offices will help to assist the farmers and schools on these islands with seedlings, animal husbandry, and will also be an outlet for farmers to receive information on what is happening with BAMC on a daily basis. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BAMC is also assisting farmers throughout the Bahamas with seedlings through our seedlings program. This is my last talk. Through this program, BAMC has donated thousands of seedlings on the islands of Eleuthera, Long Island, Cat Island, and Nassau. This program ensures the survival of each fruit and vegetable crop as farmers from every island is helping to keep these much-needed crops in existence for the coming years. It continues to be an important aspect of food security, as God forbid we experience a catastrophic storm again. These seedlings from our seedling bank can restore and revive our agricultural industry. BAMC is also proud to announce that on Monday, April 17, 2023, a grand opening ceremony was held for the BAMC Egg Academy, Poultry Research and Training Center in North Andros. This center will be able to aid by donating chickens to farmers and also provide them with the research development that has been learned at the academy. As the cost of eggs have tripled, this program will help to ease the burden of farmers and consumers. I see they're going down a little bit now, but you know, we can make sure that we subsidize and ensure to take care of the farmers. BAMC has purchased 2 incubators and will source the chicks that produce eggs for the broilers and the layers, and they will be placed in incubators for hatching. A major part of this poultry project is to ensure that BAMC is performing its purpose on a cutting-edge level, keeping our training and technology at a world-class level to our students and our farmers. We will also be able to supply and bring stability to the local poultry market, as we would not have to import eggs. I am pleased to announce, Mr. Deputy Speaker, that the completion of the first piggery ever at BAMC. This piggery will also be supplied with renewable energy to supply power for students and locals to be trained. In addition, there will be a waste management system to reuse animal waste, both at the piggery and at the poultry house, to be used on the BAMC farm. Both initiatives are modern training tools that students can be exposed to that will assist them in utilizing modernization techniques. BAMC has also donated poultry meat to the Bahama Games, Her Majesty's prison, inclusive of mutton, goat meat, and pork. We have also donated livestock to the Long Island Mutton Festival and have distributed livestock to farmers and schools across the Bahamas to increase the quality of small ruminants bloodline through this country. BAMC has donated thousands of fruits and vegetables to many charities across the Bahamas, such as Bishop Lawrence Rowe Feeding Program, Kingdom Outreach Ministries, Precious Rogers Home for the Aged, Demetrius Home Care Center, Paradise In-Care Home Care, and St. Barnabas Assisting Community Center, just to name a few. As we continue to assist farmers, BAMC has also created a floating fleet of heavy-duty land clearing equipment to be used on the different family islands to better assist farmers with the clearing down of their property. In conjunction with the Department of Agriculture and BAIC, this will provide much relief to farmers all across the country. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BAMC, in conjunction with the Ministry of Tourism, has set in motion the flats fishing program for fishermen across the Family Islands. This program is designed to assist fishermen in becoming certified as flat fishing guides. As a part of the program, fishermen also took part in the Bahamas host and boat captain training course. This training exercise has already been put on twice, and a third course is expected to begin in the summer. Mr. Deputy Speaker, some new initiatives for 2023-2024 include BAMC is focused on having the Institute finally open, and is working with the Ministry of Works and BPL to make this a reality.
Yes.
Our goal is to have students face-to-face before the end of 2023
Great.
and to have an official ribbon-cutting ceremony for the Institute. We cut ribbons. As our team continues to work hard for the betterment of BAMC, there is an aggressive staff enhancement and training exercise here at BAMC. We want to provide our staff with a proper training for their advancement as well. To this end, staff will take part in different workshops here and abroad for the continued success of the Institute as a whole. BAMC will also launch an incentive program in Long Island to supply farmers across the Commonwealth of the Bahamas with 10,000 of banana suckers in a bid to also make the Bahamas self-sufficient in bananas. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BAMC, after 4.5 years of struggling, is now producing results. Mr. Deputy Speaker, if we as a nation are to achieve food security, it is necessary to survive this unprecedented era of new and emerging diseases that threaten to wipe out plant and animal life, super microbes that are resistant to modern medicine, climate change-related disruptions to agriculture, and increases in the incidence of foodborne and waterborne illnesses. We must invest in food safety, because food safety is food security, and food security is national security. BAFSA is the authority responsible for plant and animal health and food safety. With the expertise of a very dedicated and highly technically qualified group of professionals, we will be able to set up the necessary agricultural health and food safety infrastructure to navigate the new and emerging threats of this changing world. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BAFSA is modernizing the agricultural health and food safety system by implementing rapid alert recall system, protecting the population from recalled imports. And this group of persons, they do the work that a lot of times you only recognize that they're saving you from foodborne diseases. Mr. Deputy Speaker, they continue to update me on food that's imported that they maybe had to destroy because it was out of date or for one reason or another. But they continue to work on to monitor the food that's imported as well as exported. Mr. Deputy Speaker, BAFSA is modernizing the permitting and inspection system by digitizing the processes to improve the ease of doing business in the agricultural sector. It is also embarking on new research to apply modern techniques to resurrect the citrus industry after the citrus canker disease would have shut down our citrus industry on several islands, adding to the diversity of our economy and creating jobs. And this RMA ministry also played an instrumental role in lifting the ban of beef from Canada. So this RMA ministry were the one who put the phytosanitary guidelines in place to ensure that we will be able to import meat in the most safety and healthy way possible. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in plant health, we desperately need to support BAFSA as it protect us from plant pests and diseases. Plants are the source of oxygen we breathe and most of the food we eat, as almost all of our food is directly derived from plants. The importance of plant health, however, is often overlooked. Increased global trade and the international movement of people have presented opportunities for the introduction and spread of plant pests and diseases around the world. Mr. Deputy Speaker, plant pests and diseases are now appearing in territories where they have never been seen before, resulting in devastating impacts on ecosystems agriculture, and threats to food security. Losses from plant pests account for 20 to 40% of global food production and $220 billion annually in trade losses for agricultural products. The impacts on plant health are mostly tied to climate change. More pests are emerging earlier than with rising temperatures, creating pathways for pests and diseases to thrive. Climate change also threatens the quality and quantity of food production. Mr. Deputy Speaker, plant health and plant protection are more important now than ever before to ensure that food is available, accessible, affordable, and safe. While pesticides are designed, in most cases, to kill pests, many pesticides also pose risks to people too. Increase indiscriminate pesticide use as a result of more pests is a major risk to food security and human health, particularly in women and children. Research evidence shows that this use of pesticides in and on our foods is linked to a number of human health issues, including neurotoxic effects, irritation to skin and eyes, and even some type of cancers. Deputy Speaker, foodborne diseases and chronic diseases as a result of chemicals, toxins, and additives in our food supply are preventable, and BAFSA has an integral and critical role to play in taking national leadership in coordinating and streamlining all food safety activities across multiple sectors. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we have estimated that if we invest in BAFSA's programs, we have the opportunity to access approximately $175 million in agricultural trade benefits. This budget is intended to make investments now that would open the doors of opportunity for Bahamians now and in the future. I trust the rest of my colleagues will welcome the opportunities to support BAFSA, recognizing that food safety is food security, and food security is national security. Mr. Deputy Speaker, they say where there is no vision, the people perish. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sailing has defined our history. It is our ancestors traveled to our beautiful country. It is how the Family Islanders traded goods and services and developed. It has connected us as Bahamians for hundreds of years. Sloop sailing has been birthed as a natural succession, developing into regattas that have thrilled Bahamians for over 70 years. And all skippers, captains, boat builders, and sail makers have become national heroes. You know, I was in Long Island on the weekend for regatta, and I think sometimes we make decisions that, on the face of it, is something that people ask for, but then sometimes some people really take a deeper meaning. And one of the sailors came up to speak about making sailing a national sport, and he made a comment, and I never thought of it this way. And he said, sailing for me is another step to eliminating colonial rule as a sailor, because it ties more to what we are as a people than cricket. And I never took it to that depth until Saturday night. And then I realized that, you know, decisions that we make on the face of it might not seem as prominent, but it really touches the lives in a way of older people that's lived through things maybe that myself hasn't lived through. And, you know, I don't think I'll ever forget that, of our decisions we make really affect, the liberation, correct, liberation of them as a people. But as we embark on the 50th anniversary of our country, Mr. Deputy Speaker, it is only fitting that as we make necessary changes as we grow, we implement the measures and take ownership of the qualities that makes us unique and sets us apart as an independent nation. And sailing is one of those unique qualities. With sailing becoming a national sport, and where there are regattas, homecomings, and festivals throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas, a decision was made to fully place these activities under one umbrella, especially the ones that are led in the various family islands by local government. Mr. Deputy Speaker, as we solidify sailing as our national sport, and as we work along with the Ministry of Youth, Sports and Culture, we hope to establish a sailing commission built and created by those who personify everything sailing. We seek to implement a comprehensive Register. And we seek, Mr. Deputy Speaker, and we have allocated in this budget $500,000 for the development of the national sport, to establish a national sailing academy, to ensure that our young people who might not have access to sailing has access throughout the length and breadth of the Bahamas. And they have the opportunity to learn the art of sailing, and not just the art of sailing, but swimming as well. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we will offer administrative advice, funding, manpower, and support where practicable. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we continue to make great strides towards our goal of food security and family island development. My ministry, IT departments, and entities are committed to providing ladders of opportunities for Bahamians to thrive. We live in an ever-changing time, and so our advancement towards our goal is critical in helping to develop a robust economy. We are undaunted by our challenges, and we remain steadfast and focused on achieving our goals. The goal, Mr. Deputy Speaker, remains simple: to create opportunities for farmers to increase food production, to add value to food products, to create an environment for economic advancement for the Bahamian people. Our farmers have been crying, and we have now put forth an holistic plan that serves to assist them with growing their personal business and increasing food production and value-added products for a wider distribution of economic wealth. Food security is a top priority, and we have taken the bull by the horn and are providing funding through grant initiatives, increased duty concessions for farming and fishing. We have improved the availability of seedlings to farmers, livestock, and small ruminants. We have increased the availability of tractor services for land clearing and preparation. We have increased the access to land. We are reviving the egg industry to reduce our import bill and create a full-circle economy that Bahamians can access and own. We are providing a brand-new state-of-the-art feed mill. We are investing in new technologies to increase and diversify farming options through greenhouses, vertical and horizontal farming. Mr. Deputy Speaker, we are investing in people. We, the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs, only about one thing, Mr. Deputy: just results. My colleagues on the other side speak a lot about traveling, Mr. Deputy, to portray that we are simply on a joyride and spending spree. However, nothing could be far from the truth. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I guarantee you their speeches will all replicate the same talking points: travel, tax, and breadbasket items. Yeah. And you know, I really can't get over this brand new attitude of the side opposite. Acting all brand new. Acting all brand new. But Mr. Deputy Speaker, in my ministry, every travel opportunity has resulted in positive gains for the agricultural sector. So don't mind what they say over there. Don't mind what they say over there. We have been able to see firsthand and talk to experts in agriculture in Dubai, Jamaica, Guyana, and other countries. And out of these meetings, the Bahamas has created collaborative partnerships that are proven to be advantageous to the development of agriculture. From our travels, the vision of the Golden Yoke emerged.
Yes, exactly.
100% Bahamian. 100%. 100%. BIC developed the framework to revamp how they are using the land, to improve economic activity and implement contract growing. From travel, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I'd like to take this opportunity to remind the members opposite that in the 90s, it was their administration who introduced policies on food imports as a cheaper option opposed to growing your own food. From the 90s now, there seems to be a continued period of instability in the agricultural sector. You always hear the stories of remember when we used to grow this here or process this here. Hence, Mr. Deputy Speaker, while food security is once again a priority, I am implementing a National Advisory Committee and a National Agricultural Policy to protect the farmers and ensure that the industry thrives regardless of who sits in the chair. Agriculture is as vital as the water we drink, and it is a common equalizer whether you are from Inagua or Grand Bahama, whether you're from Baintown or Lightfoot Key. Food is a necessity. We have to protect our agricultural industry. Mr. Deputy Speaker, in protecting the agricultural industry, my focus remains on the youth. Just about every department under my remit is implementing a youth component, specifically designed to be a feeder to the core department or section. For BAMC and agriculture, we are implementing our agricultural cadet program. These students should have specific hands-on training that guides their careers into BAMC and UB towards the study of agronomy, technology, or innovation. Additionally, Mr. Deputy Speaker, as mentioned, local government has a junior program. This program will be fashioned after the actual town councils and held to the same standards of governance, junior. Junior local government gives students the opportunity to participate in governance on a personal level, creating the utopian society they can imagine. These same students will learn how to govern, and eventually some of them will become lawmakers and parliamentarians like us. I encourage you to meet with and mentor the young people in our society. The way they envision the future starts with you. Mr. Deputy Speaker, it would be remiss of me to leave out the junior sailing programs. Already established organizations are cultivating the best in the world in junior sailing. The continuity of sailing as a national sport begins with the introduction to this program. Additionally, these programs teach our children important life skills of teamwork, self-sufficiency, failure, and triumph. Mr. Deputy Speaker, the members opposite continue to paint the picture to the Bahamian people that this administration is all about tax. Mr. Deputy Speaker, allow me to remind the public that the members opposite sat on the same team that increased VAT to 12%, a 66% increase on the backs of Bahamians, and refused to lower the rate after Dorian and the pandemic. This was done without a warning to anyone, business persons, consumers. As a matter of fact, some of the members on the same side didn't even know what was going to happen. Didn't have a clue. Didn't have a clue. The members opposite and members of their team have since played a political football with the increase of taxes. Some days you say you don't lower it. Some days you say you can't raise it. You ain't even sure what you want to do. Mr. Deputy Speaker, after the then leader of the government raised taxes without a raised eyebrow, it was only when the PLP administration took the helm that the new opposition leader found his voice, ironically demanding us to lower VAT and reduce the duties on breadbasket items that the government placed there. The Bahamian people, Mr. Deputy, can clearly see through the smoke and through the mirrors. While you play ball with the emotions of the Bahamian people, I'll tend to my ministry, making remarkable decisions that will move agriculture from a forgotten ministry to the forefront of the economy. I will continue to focus on family islands, their development, and strengthening local government.
That's right. Just results. Results.
Finally, Mr. Deputy Speaker, I wish to speak candidly to this House and to the members of the Central and South Neutral constituency. To the task that we undertake in this place is sobering, as our decisions determine how the Bahamian people succeed. For those of us that are family island MPs and cabinet ministers, there is a delicate balance we must strike on a daily basis to determine which of the need is greatest. Unlike our counterparts in the capital, getting to and from our constituencies is always a challenge. Living on Eleuthera is especially challenging with the constantly booked airlines and unavailability of flights. I want you to know, Central and South Eleuthera, that as your Member of Parliament, I do not take for granted that I serve at your pleasure. I continue to fight for you and to advocate for better conditions for the island structurally and economically, and I have placed a strong team on the ground with the all to get things done. I am pleased to announce that in my back and forth movements, I have been able to secure a number of initiatives for you. that will only help to improve your lives and the economic status of Eleuthera. Therefore, over the next 2 months, as I mentioned earlier, I intend to cut ribbons, sign deals that will directly benefit you. I thank you for your overwhelming support over the last 2 years, and I look forward to a robust economy and a bright future. Mr. Deputy Speaker, as I close, this is a caring government, a transformative government, a hard decision-making government, a government of the common man, one that is poised and focused, and we are not distracted by the criticism of the other side. Listen, if opposition was a person, it'd be y'all. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this side, this Davis-led administration worked hard to ensure that the burden of raising additional revenue would fall to non-Bahamians and not on our people. Custom taxes didn't go up, VAT didn't go up, departure tax on cruise visitors went up, family island imports increased, and outstanding taxes is being assessed and collected. Mr. Deputy Speaker, when I think of this Davis-led administration, 2 words come to mind, Mr. Deputy Speaker. Just results. Mr. Deputy Speaker, this budget is excellent for every facet under my portfolio and the Bahamian people. The people of Central and South Eleuthera fully endorses this budget as we look forward to the progressive strides of our Family Island community.
Thank you, Honourable Member. As many, the Chair recognizes the Honourable Member for North Andros and the Barry Islands.
Keep it clean. Keep it clean. Stay above board. Stay on the high road now. You taught.
Deputy Speaker, don't go low. My parliamentary colleagues, afternoon. I want to give thanks first and foremost to the Almighty God who has been awesome and generous to me thus far. Deputy Speaker, I rise today on behalf of the great people of North Andros and the Barry Island. Deputy Speaker, allow me 2 minutes to make mention of all those I love dearly, give condolences, congratulatory, and birthday shout-outs to my constituents of Nabi. A special good afternoon to my loving and caring mother, Lenora Gray Brennan, all the way in Mangrove Key, Andros. My grandmother, Pandora Miller, and Dorian Lightbourne, and my grandfather, Kendall Lightbourne Sr., who are all locked in this morning's proceedings. To my sons, Kaden, Kara, Kimera, and Cameron, Daddy loves you all, and thank you for loaning me to the country in the capacity that I now serve. To my sisters and brothers, extended family, colleagues, and friends, I say thank you all for your continued support. To the Nabi constituency team members, Ms. Miller, Ms. Evans, Mr. Major, Ms. Tanquest, Ms. Rule, Mr. Wallace in Great Arbor Key, and Mr. Bodie, I say special thank you. A special congratulations to the class of 2023 throughout the Nabi constituency. I want to apologize publicly to the graduating class of 23 of the Brain Rock Primary School in Mangrove Key, Andros. I was the keynote speaker there this morning, and budget contributions placed me in a stronghold to be here today. To all the constituents who have lost loved ones in Nabi, we extend a sincere condolence and pray for your continued strength during this difficult time. Also, those celebrating their special day, I wish you all a happy birthday. Isaiah 44, 41, and 10. You know, we say PLP, we got to bring the scripture. 41 and 10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. Yeah, I will help thee. Yeah, I will uphold thee with thy right hand of my righteousness. Deputy Speaker, as I continue to serve the people of North Andros and the Barry Islands, I have experienced the true meaning of humility and servanthood. Deputy Speaker, I serve my people with pride because if it's not for them, I would not be here today. As I serve them, my sincere desire is to see their lives change as they are given the opportunities they rightfully deserve. Deputy Speaker, I believe that effective leadership is when we see lives are transformed and changed for the better. I believe that this will be achieved when our desires are pure and driven by sincerity and unselfishness. Deputy Speaker, I believe that it is important that we do a self-evaluation periodically to determine if we are living up to the expectations of those who elect us to serve and given the opportunity to sit in this honorable place. Truly, it is my belief that God never makes a mistake. He placed us in these positions to lead his people and to make their lives better than they were before. It is important that when we leave this honorable place, we are able to say that we give it our best. To sit in this honorable place is indeed an honor and a privilege. We are accountable for our various constituencies and to make certain that we help to make the lives of our people better and provide them with the necessary changes they need, as they are given fair opportunities they rightfully deserve. Deputy Speaker, I think it is no mistake that God elected the Davis administration for time and season to lead the Bahamian people. I am constantly reminded that God never makes a mistake. He set up kings and he demits another. Speaker, our forefathers founded our wonderful progressive Liberal Party on principles of servanthood and integrity. No doubt, we are able to see our country and our people's lives progress and change. Not just change, but change in a notable way. My personal commitment to the people of North Andros and the Berry Islands is not just to say that I am a member of Parliament, but to ensure that there's notable changes for my people. I want them to be able to say that I served them well. My team and I continue to work the North Andros and the Berry Islands, implementing programs, social initiatives, give-backs, listening to the concerns of constituents, and showing them support wherever necessary. One of the main areas and major concern for these islands is job opportunities. Many of the locals simply want the opportunity to be able to provide for their families. In this regard, we invite the residents to apply for the various armed forces and contractual job openings. The locals are given first preference when opportunities are made available on the islands. Deputy Speaker, another area of concern is Crown land. It is an issue for many of the residents in Nabi. There are many outstanding approvals to this date. In some cases, some of these approvals have been pending for more than 35 years. It is critical that our government see that these issues and outstanding matters are resolved. The residents of Nabi deserve a piece of the rock.
Yes.
And the rock should not be denied land approvals.
That's right.
Deputy Speaker, now is the right time that we focus on developing our family islands because they have so much potential and have so much to offer for our locals and tourists alike. Developing our islands will open potentially new doors and tons of new jobs. It has the potential of creating many entrepreneurs throughout these islands. We can own island hopping cruises where we go from island to island for some 3 to 5 to some 7-day cruises. This will equate to more straw vendors, restaurant sales, souvenir agents, and economic growth for each island. However, we must make certain that it is viable and sustainable business. I do believe that no one knows our waters better than our own boat captains and fishermen. Having trained lifeguards on boats, cooks, etc., will take the strain of the government for jobs and open other untapped avenues. Progressive thinking will yield progressive results. It is our hope that we make the island so attractive with opportunities that we have competing commercial banks returning for potential business. Deputy Speaker, I would like to plead on the behalf of the people of Nabi for an intervention for a presence of a local bank. An ATM machine cannot meet the needs of the people. The North and Central Andres community needs a physical presence desperately. Deputy Speaker, the constituents on pensions has to travel to Nassau because there are no banks. When they are actually receiving their monthly pension, it is less than half because they have to purchase plane tickets, find accommodations, transportations, etc. This is indeed a pressing issue that must be looked into urgently. Additionally, this is important to economic building and attracting investments to these islands. The people have suffered long enough, and we need a bank now. Deputy Speaker, there are no physical presence of a commercial bank in North or Central Andres. Some residents have to drive more than an hour only to find out that the ATM is not operational in some cases, which is a major inconvenience and disruption not only for the residents, but for a major disruption for commerce. Deputy Speaker, there was a meeting held in North Andres last week. The Chamber of Commerce of North Andres, along with some residents, are trying to find a solution to this vexing problem. I would like to thank all of those who attended this informative meeting as we work together to bring solutions to this matter. Deputy Speaker, the Davis administration has caught the vision, and no doubt we will begin to see a difference and improve infrastructures to our family islands. The healthcare facilities on our islands are in full gear to see major changes. The hospital in Grand Bahama will begin construction shortly. Also, land has been identified in Great Harbor Key, and the clinic is set to start construction in this new fiscal budget. Further, a new clinic for North Andres is also on the agenda. Deputy Speaker, these upgrades are expected to be a state-of-the-art with proper medical equipment and various rooms for eye specialists and dental care. Additionally, clinics throughout the family islands are set for major upgrades and renovations. Deputy Speaker, we are a progressive government who believe that none of our family islands should be left behind. We've passed the Investment Fund Act for our family islands, where revenue derived from our islands will go back into the economy to help build the islands for capital projects, etc., airports, docks, bridges, seawalls. Deputy Speaker, I applaud this administration for such a fitting act as it relates to our islands. I am happy to report at the same time we have ongoing projects such as the Red Bays Road project in North Andres, the road project in Great Harbor Key, the renovations at the North Andres Clinic, just to name a few. However, there is still a lot of work to be done. We have seawalls that requires construction in various settlements such as Low Sound, Kong Sound, Stafford Creek, the dock at Red Bays, and more paving in the communities of Bark, Stafford Creek, Blanket Sound, and Nicholstown. Deputy Speaker, fishing is a major means of income for many households in my community. We need our docks repaired so these families are able to feed themselves. Deputy Speaker, crime is everyone's business. As much as we play politics with it, at the end of the day, this is our country. We must do our best to ensure that our citizens and tourists alike feel safe. The government of the Bahamas, with assistance from our law enforcement agencies, roll out its saturation patrol on our streets. Additionally, we have added some 100 new trucks to the fleet of the Royal Bahamas Police Force to help with the enforcement of law and order throughout the country. Deputy Speaker, over a few past months, Nabi experienced a number of break-ins throughout the constituency. So this exercise is indeed a timely one. In this regard, I trust that Nabi will receive their fair shares of vehicles and additional manpower. Member for Freetown, I thank you for ensuring that Nabi will be taken care of. Yes, sir. Also, to protect the borders of our country, we will be adding 4 new vessels to the fleet of the Royal Bahamas Defense Force. Additionally, Deputy Speaker, we continue to increase the manpower across the board of all law enforcement agencies. Deputy Speaker, since coming to office, we have signed a number of agreements with trade unions throughout the public sector, giving many public sector workers increases they deserve and to help with inflation. To aid with retaining our teachers and nurses, we have also implemented retention bonuses. The first time a progressive move has been done. Our law enforcement agencies has also seen an increase in their salaries. Deputy Speaker, in order for there to be economic growth in any productive economy, we must control the taxes that are due. It is no need for us to sit in this honorable place and pass laws if we are not going to have the agencies/departments enforce them. Deputy Speaker, when value tax was passed, the Act speaks to the merchants collecting the tax on behalf of the government. They in turn deduct the VAT they spend doing business, and the rest is turned over to the government as revenue. Why should we allow merchants or anyone to keep the government's revenue that is already collected on our behalf when we have so much work to get done? As a responsible government, it is our job to ensure that we collect the Bahamian people's money. We hear the cries from our citizens all the time. We need new hospitals. The roads need to be fixed. The public pharmacies need medications, etc. We must collect our taxes that are due in order to get the necessary work completed. Also, I must applaud this government for not adding additional tax burden on the backs of Bahamian people. But in order for the government to accomplish its goals with the major capital projects, building new hospitals, fix the roads, assist with major infrastructures on the family islands, assist with those in needs, we must collect our taxes, and it must be done in a transparent manner. Deputy Speaker, taking care of the youth of our nations is indeed critical. We must make certain that they are equipped to become the future leaders of our nation. Where there are skill gaps, we must ensure that we do our best to fill them. Deputy Speaker, we are working assiduously to ensure that our classrooms are properly managed and with adequate teachers. Also, enhancing education to all levels. This is key in molding and creating a strong foundation for our children. LNCB, Leave No Child Behind initiative that will be launched as a part of the schedule for the NABI Institute. This became our focus when we established the NABI Self-Development Institute in October 2022. The reality that we face with the government of the Bahamas will not be able to employ everyone. In this regard, the Institute will also offer courses such as barbering, cosmetology, culinary arts, marketing, carpentry, and how to become a successful entrepreneur. Deputy Speaker, we are also working to create a platform for those residents who need assistance with certifications in other fields such as office procedure, BJCSEs, and BGCSE certifications. It is our hope to be able to encourage the locals to open their own businesses so that they're now able to offer job opportunities to others. We will continue to partner with Ms. Charlotte Knowles Thompson to offer scholarship opportunities to our young people so that they will be able to obtain tertiary level education from the various universities in the United States and Canada with the hopes that they will return home and help build the islands. Deputy Speaker, the implementation of an early school breakfast program that will be launched through every school in the Bahamas is an excellent initiative. Through this program, we will ensure that our children are given a healthy, hot breakfast to get their day started and to assist parents who may not have the necessary means to give their children a meal. Their minds will be fresh and open to retain their lessons. This is what a progressive government does: help families and prepare our young people for their future endeavors. Deputy Speaker, I am committed to restoring the parks in my constituency to ensure that they are up to standard for the various sports disciplines and proper equipment for the residents to have a recreational area. We will make certain that these parks will be outfitted with proper lights, grass where required, paved areas for running, etc. Also, we would like to offer job opportunities to the residents to ensure that our parks are not vandalized and that they are used for the appropriate activities. Deputy Speaker, these are my people. Helping those are some of the qualities that were instilled in me as a young man growing up in Mangufki by my mother and grandmother. So I am not just a member of parliament. I am an Androsian. I am indeed grateful with an attitude of gratitude. It is my pleasure to serve them and grateful for the opportunity they have bestowed upon me. Deputy Speaker, from a government standpoint, we continue to make major strides to help build the economy of the Bahamas. We have seen our economy bounce back from the devastating global pandemic of the COVID-19 virus. We had to restore the physical health of our nation. Too many people in our country were suffering, and we needed to bring relief to the most vulnerable in society. Our tourist market has seen record-breaking numbers of tourists visiting our shores, with numbers steadily increasing each year. However, we must continue to be creative as people to offer more activities for our tourists as they visit our shores, particularly during the evening hours. With the opening of the new cruise port and the ongoing cleanup of downtown Nassau, this can assist with different activities for the many guests who visit via the cruise ships and to make this section of our island more attractive. Deputy Speaker, so many Bahamians are worried about the ability to be able to afford their own home, or will they ever be in a position to afford a piece of the rock due to inflation? Many of them are worried if they or their children can build a secure future in the Bahamas. The dream of home, business, land ownership feels out of reach for too many. Deputy Speaker, since coming to office, we have seen young, inspiring Bahamians move into their homes, and the dreams of home ownership became a reality. With our affordable house projects under this caring government, the member for Elizabeth has expanded this project to various islands to assist those residents in need. We now have affordable homes under construction, and many more are on the way. Also, on the island of Abaco and Freeport, we have seen how Hurricane Dorian left so many residents without a place to lay their heads at night. Many of them did not have homeowners insurance and was left devastated, living with family and friends. Help is not on its way. Help is here. Deputy Speaker, in my role as Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Marine Resources, and Family Island Affairs, we continue to make progressive steps as we chart the way forward. As I turn my attention to BAMSI, the government of the Bahamas has always supported the efforts and the initiatives of the Bahamas Agriculture, Marine Science Institute.
Member, the chair recognizes the honorable member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
As the member for North Andros begins his transition, it might be a good time to take our break and return at 3 o'clock, which allows him to get into BAMSI.
Is there a seconder?
That's fine with you?
That's fine.
That's fine with you?
That's fine.
But you only have 5 minutes.
I think I have a few more minutes. This isn't long.
You want to stay on? We'll continue then, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, honorable member.
If the member wishes, we'll continue.
Thank you. The chair recognizes.
Thank you. The government of the Bahamas has always supported the efforts and initiatives of the Bahamas Agriculture and Marine Science Institute, as it is imperative to become more self-sufficient and feed ourselves healthier, fresher, and more affordable locally grown produce. BAMSI has made a tremendous stride since in its opening on September 29, 2014. Further, plans are now underway to have the first phase of the campus completed and expanded, fully transformed in time for the upcoming fall semester. Additionally, our students will now have access to the government tertiary housing allowance that will ease the burden of students living on Andros. BAMSI is an approved international testing center for the SAT exam. Strategic partners including the Ministry of Tourism, partnering with the Ministry of Tourism, Fly Fishing Association, and other stakeholders such as the Environmental Defense Fund grant to create a more approach to fly fishing and training. Ministry of Tourism have given the rights to BAMSI to create the program. The annual Summer Education and Enrichment Discovery Series SEEDS program has introduced junior and senior high school students to a cross-section of activities and will explore the conceptual support of an assortment of topics. It runs June 26th to the 30th, 2023. It is hoped that this unique opportunity will foster future generations of students. The Institute has definitely answered the clarion call to provide relevant technical education and training in agriculture, marine science, as scores of graduates spanning the entire archipelago have completed. Associates of Science degrees in agriculture, marine science, environmental science, agribusiness, aquaponics, and business management, or Associates of Applied Science degrees in general agriculture, animal science, agronomy, and art and the environment. In order to raise the visibility and showcase the quality of the programs, the Institute offers skills, training, and proficiency certificate programs in numerous disciplines in the goal of providing students with the entrepreneurial and technical skills needed to keep up with the rapidly changing sector and make an effective and immediate difference in their communities. BAMSI has worked to meet national needs in scientific and technical research, filling critical information group gaps. A key goal is the development of academic and research capacity in agriculture and marine science and technology, with a company goal of synthesis and dissemination. BAMSI is the conduit for scientific research studies and dissemination and implementation of the same. The Institute has provided leadership in program development and research initiatives and research projects, including the Andros Community-Based Tourism Cluster Project. The Institute is excited to be a part of this project in conjunction with the Ministry of Tourism, Investment, and Aviation. The main role of the Institute is to provide capacity building throughout the development of ecotourism and develop certifications, including integration of CTO, community tourism development skills, tools, and ecotourism guide training and development. Poultry unit addition for the training and education of others. Acquisition of the Stafford Creek Primary School request. The school has been abandoned for over 2 years and will prove a great asset to BAMSI as a marine and environmental science field station. Madam Speaker, on the 27th and 23rd, the Honorable Prime Minister attended the groundbreaking ceremony for the Golden Yolk Egg Project, where we are now able to produce our own supply of our stores with the same. Additionally, we have now made sailing the national sport of the Bahamas. The ministry continues to be dedicated, committed to ensuring that this sport is fully developed and supported throughout this country. Deputy Speaker, let me drop this nugget in sharing gratitude on behalf of NABI constituents. How grateful we are to have engaged, to have the Jubilee Bahama Games sailing to take place in Morgan's Bluff for the July 13th through the 16th. We look forward to an amazing time in North Andros. The junior sailing program is very active and plans are being made to introduce this sport into the education curriculum. The staff with the Regatta Desk unit are in talks with the Ministry of Education Student Development Section with plans to launch a pilot junior sailing program as an after-school sporting activity. Youth sailors will have the opportunity to develop skills by sailing the E-class boats for their training and competitive sailing. It is our goal to have a junior sailing program implemented in every island throughout the country. Sailing and regattas are on the move in this country. As a team, we will continue to do all that is necessary for the growth and development. Deputy Speaker, I now turn my attention to public markets, which comprise of Arawaki, Fish Fry, Porter's Key, Montecuram, the Blue Hill Roads Farmers Market, and the market at Gladstone. That's 5 minutes in. 5 minutes in. Oh. It's quick. Leave in 5 minutes. The ministry is happy to report that plans were prepared and approved by the Ministry of Works and Utilities to allow the Porter's Key victims affected by April 2021 fire to begin building. Those victims have also received documents from the ministry which grant them the opportunity to go into FYP and purchase.
Member,
for the formality, we have to ask for extension of time.
Is there a seconder? It has been moved and seconded that the business of the House continue past the 1 o'clock hour.
I would mention the time this time.
As many as are in favor will
Thank you,
remain
Member for
seated.
West Grand
Those
Bahama
opposed will
for
stand.
extension.
The motion is carried. The House will continue past 1 p.m.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I would mention the time. My colleagues really on me with this time. We can also report that both the Porter's Key and Arawaki Fish Fry now have more modern bathroom facilities, and we propose to continue to develop the site to make it more attractive. With respect to Porter's Key, we have upgraded the bathroom facilities and intended to continue to make upgrades as it becomes necessary with up-to-date modernized equipment. We are in discussions with Bahamas Power and Light to provide increased street lights to Porter's Key and additional access to electricity grid for the vendors, which we will eliminate the use of generators as they are a hazard and annoyance to patrons. Deputy Speaker, with the assistance of the Ministry of Works Utilities, we intend to provide speed bumps, additional lighting to the parking lot, and fencing where needed in the surrounding areas. We want to remove conch shells of the northern seawalls and rebuild that seawall. There's also a plan to erect a fencing at the seawall and pave the rear area at Arawaki. The Water and Sewage Corporation to the Ministry of Works and Utilities would address their specialty areas as it relates to water flow and grease drainage. Deputy Speaker, we are also addressing the issue of subleasing and offer new leases to vendors. We intend to address the backlog of lease rental fees at all public markets. Deputy Speaker, the youth are important in the process of government, and they are future inheritors. As our deliberation in this place, we must look out for their well-beings, and we must also seek ways to engage them in this process of governance. Throughout the Department of Local Government and Department of Cooperatives and Agriculture, we are launching the junior local government throughout public and private schools. This is a collaborative effort along with the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of National Security, through parliamentary registration and the private school sectors. Deputy Speaker, we have seen the destructive power of social media, projecting false narratives and encouraging Bahamian people to engage in unconstitutional acts. We have the opportunity through this junior local government initiative to educate our students on functions of governments in our country. They will have first-hand experience of running their own constituencies and managing their budgets. This program is timely. We salute the organizers, participating organizations, and the students that will participate in this electoral process. Deputy Speaker, we are well on our way in making an impact that we will change lives for our people. Yeah. These notable changes will not only be seen, but felt by Bahamians across the length and breadth of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Sure. I applaud our government as we continue to ensure that our people progress and move our nation forward, upward, onward, together. North Adjust and the Berry Island support this project.
Thank you, Honourable Member. As many, the chair recognizes the Honourable Member for West Grand Bahama and Bimini.
Madam, Mr. Deputy, we now move for the lunch suspension. Upon the return, the member for Southern Shores will be on the floor.
Is there a seconder? It has been moved and seconded that the business of the House be suspended to 3 p.m. As many as are in favor will remain seated. Those opposed will stand. The motion is carried. The business of the House stands suspended to 3 p.m.
All rise.
coming together here in the Bahamas.